The year is 1608. Outside the heavy oak doors of the Globe, the streets of London are slick with a persistent, bone-chilling drizzle that clings to the cobbles and seeps into the bones of every traveler. The roar of the playhouse, the thundering applause, the sharp retorts of the groundlings, the frantic energy of the actors has finally surrendered to the heavy velvet silence of the night. But here, in a small windowless sanctuary tucked away behind the main stage, the true alchemy of the theater is only just beginning. Imagine, for a moment, the world narrowing down until it consists only of this room. The walls are not made of cold brick or damp plaster. They are constructed from layers of history, draped in rows upon rows of heavy wool, shimmering silk, and stiff, intricate brocade. These are the costumes of kings, queens, and spectral spirits, hanging in the dim amber glow of the candlelight like silent, patient witnesses to the day's performances. You are safe here. The air is thick, not with the harsh metallic tang of the city streets, but with the grounding nostalgic scents of pressed wool, sharp cedar shavings, and the lingering floral sweetness of dried lavender sachets tucked deep into the cedar chests. In the corner, a small coal grate crackles, a rhythmic domestic heartbeat that pushes back the biting chill of the London night and bathes the small room in a gentle flickering warmth. You are sitting at a heavy oak table, its surface worn smooth and polished by decades of labor. In front of you lies a board of velvet, a deep royal crimson that seems to drink in the light, possessing a texture so soft and dense it feels like touching the night sky itself. Listen closely. If you quiet your thoughts and let your focus settle, you can hear it. The soft, deliberate, and hypnotic hush of a needle passing through thick fabric. There is a slight, satisfying resistance of the velvet, the cool metallic light of the golden thread, and the gentle final tug as the knot settles firmly into place. It is a cadence as old as civilization itself, a meditative pulse that slows your heartbeat and quiets the frantic static of the world outside. The bustling, chaotic life of 17th-century London, with its carriages, its mud, its endless rumors, and its crushing ambitions, has faded into nothingness. It no longer exists. In this private velvet-lined oasis, there is only the tactile sensation of the cloth, the radiating warmth of the hearth, and the steady, mesmerizing rhythm of needle and thread. You are not a spectator to history, you are a participant in a quiet, ancient craft. Tonight, we are not merely sewing a garment for an actor to wear, we are stitching together a moment of absolute, undisturbed peace. We are stepping into a forgotten, golden-hued corner of time where nothing is expected of you, where the heavy weight of the world cannot reach, and where the only thing that matters is the smooth golden thread finding its perfect home in the crimson velvet. Let the long day fall away, like a heavy cloak hitting the floor. Leave the noise of the city behind in the rain. Take a deep, slow breath of the lavender-scented air. Feel the warmth of the coal fire against your skin and prepare to lose yourself in the methodical, repetitive art of the tailor's craft. The needle is poised. The golden thread is drawn tight. We are going to stage a masterpiece of stillness, and you are welcome to stay as long as you need. The night is ours, the fire is steady, and the velvet is waiting to be transformed. The rhythm of the needle is a language unto itself. It is a slow pulsing conversation between the mind and the hands, a dialogue conducted in the quiet tongue of craftsmanship. As you pull the golden thread through the crimson velvet, you notice the way the light catches the fibers. It is not a flat, uniform red. It is a landscape of light and shadow, a sea of microscopic valleys and peaks that shift with every subtle movement of your hand. When you push the needle through, there is a tiny, almost imperceptible click, followed by the soft sigh of thread gliding through the thick plush pile. It is a sound that acts as an anchor, pulling your consciousness deeper into the present moment, away from the flickering anxieties of the outside world. In this room, time does not move in the linear fashion of the clock. It moves in the rhythm of stitches. Each stitch is a small, complete cycle. You pierce the fabric, you guide the thread, you pull it tight, and you secure the tension. Then you begin again. In the repetition, there is a profound liberation. There is no need to think about the next day's rehearsals, the coming winter, or the complex social web of the London theatre scene. Those things are outside the door, buried beneath the rain and the mud. Go out here. The only objective is the perfection of the seam, the integrity of the fold, and the harmony of the golden thread against the royal crimson. As you work, the scent of the cedar shavings seems to intensify, grounding you further in the space. The wardrobe room is a testament to the lives that pass through it. Hanging on the wall to your left is a doublet made of heavy cream-colored wool, stained slightly at the cuffs from a long season of performances. Beside it hangs a cloak of midnight blue silk, its embroidery still holding a faint trace of the stage's dust. Each garment carries a ghost of a character, a king who roared, a jester who wept, a lover who sighed. They are all quiet now, resting in the warmth of the coal grate's glow, their stories woven into the very seams you have repaired 100 times before. You take a sip of cool water from a pewter mug nearby. The taste is clean and sharp, contrasting with the warmth of the room. You look down at your hands. They are steady, stained with the honest marks of labor, yet they move with a grace that has been earned through years of repetition. There is a deep satisfaction in knowing that this robe will carry the weight of a performance tomorrow. It will be seen by hundreds of eyes under the flickering light of the afternoon sun. But tonight it is yours. It is a project of devotion, a labor that asks for nothing but your presence and your patience. The coal in the grate pops, sending a tiny shower of sparks dancing up the chimney. The light in the room shifts, casting elongated, dancing shadows against the hanging costumes. They look like statues frozen in a silent masquerade. You find yourself smiling at the thought. A theater is a place of illusions, a machine built to trick the eye and touch the heart. But you are the one who builds the foundation of that illusion. You are the one who ensures that the velvet holds, that the thread does not fray, and that the king looks like a king when he steps onto the boards. There is a profound sense of purpose in this, a quiet dignity that needs no applause to be valid. You smooth the velvet with the palm of your hand, feeling the warmth of the fabric against your skin. It is comforting, like the touch of a familiar friend. You think about the thread again, gold on crimson. It is a regal combination, one that speaks of ambition and drama, yet under your hands it is tamed, rendered humble and practical. You are not building an empire, you are building a robe. And in that, you are creating something that will provide comfort to the actor who wears it, and a sense of wonder to the audience who watches. You are a bridge between the mundane world and the magical one, and you are perfectly content to exist in that space between. The rain continues to drum against the roof, a persistent, rhythmic tapping that only serves to make this room feel more like an island. You are tucked away, insulated by the weight of all these textiles. The world can be as loud and chaotic as it wants to be. Here it is only you, the fire, and the steady progression of the needle. You feel your shoulders drop, the tension of the long day melting away like wax near the candle flame. The methodical nature of your work is a soothing balm for the soul, a way to organize your thoughts into neat, orderly rows, just like the stitches on the garment before you. You have everything you need, and for this moment, you are exactly where you are meant to be. The stillness of the room is not empty. It is filled with the presence of things held in suspension. Every item in this wardrobe room holds a memory, a fragment of a performance that once rippled through the air of the theater. As you work, you become a curator of these moments, a silent guardian of the stories that have been told and the ones yet to be written. The thread continues its journey, weaving in and out of the velvet, creating a trail of gold that catches the light and sparkles like a constellation trapped on the fabric. Your breath is deep and rhythmic, mirroring the motion of your arm. In, out, pull, tighten, in, out, pull, tighten. It is a cycle that demands nothing but focus, allowing your mind to drift into a state of semi-conscious reverie, where worries have no footing. Outside, the London night deepens. The sounds of the city have long since vanished, leaving behind only the profound silence that can only exist in the heart of a structure built for make-believe. You realize that you have become part of the architecture of the theater itself, an essential gear in the machine that brings dreams to life. Without the tailor, the king is just a man in a tunic, the queen is just a woman in linen, and the magician is just a weary actor in worn-out rags. You give them their majesty, you give them their mystery, and in doing so you find your own peace. The velvet, so deep and rich in color, feels almost alive under your fingers. It is thick, substantial, and unforgiving of mistakes, which forces you to be deliberate. There is no room for haste here. Haste is for the streets, for the merchants in the market, for the sailors in the harbor. Here, in the sanctum of the wardrobe, speed is the enemy of quality. You lean back for a moment, letting your eyes rest on the flickering embers of the coal fire. The heat is a soft, gentle pressure against your skin, a reminder that you are cared for by this small enclosed environment. You think of the lavender sachets tucked away in the drawers. You reach out, pulling one from a nearby wooden box. Its scent is faint, a dry, dusty, but intensely calming aroma that evokes images of sun-drenched fields, far from the damp, gray reality of London. You place the sachet back, but the scent remains, mingling with the smell of the coal smoke and the metallic tang of the needle. It is a scent profile that you have come to associate with safety. Whenever you enter this room, your body instinctively begins to relax, your heart rate slowing to match the tempo of your work. You pick up the crimson bolt again. You are working on the hem of the robe, a long sweeping length of velvet that will trail behind the wearer like a shadow. Each stitch must be invisible from the outside, hidden within the thick pile of the fabric. This requires a level of precision that is almost spiritual. You are working for an audience that will never see your handiwork, for an actor who will never know the exact care you put into this specific fold. Yet you do it with total commitment. Why? Because the work itself is the reward. The act of creation, even on a small scale, is a way of asserting order over the chaos of existence. You find that by perfecting the small things, you are better able to handle the larger uncontrollable forces of the world. The golden thread is almost spent. You pause to refret the needle, a delicate process that requires steady hands and a keen eye. You do it by touch as much as by sight, the muscle memory of the task taking over. Once the loop is secure and the needle is ready once more, you feel a sense of renewed vigor. The rhythm resumes faster now, yet still deliberate. You are moving toward the end of the seam, the work nearing its completion. There is a melancholy in this, as there always is when a task is nearly done. The process of sewing is so satisfying that finishing the item feels almost like losing a companion. But you know that there are always more ropes to mend, more velvet to shape, and more stories to clothe. The wardrobe is never empty, and the work is never truly over, which is a comforting thought. It means that tomorrow night, and the night after that, this sanctuary will be here, waiting for you to return to the comfort of the thread and the fire. You glance at the ceiling, where the shadows dance in hypnotic patterns. They seem to be whispering. The ghosts of the playhouse sharing secrets in the dark. You don't fear them, you feel a kinship with them. They too were part of the theater, part of the collective effort to capture the human experience and project it onto the stage. By mending their clothes, you are keeping their memory alive, ensuring that their work continues long after they have walked off the stage for the last time. It is a noble endeavor, however humble it may appear from the outside. You are the invisible backbone of the theater, the quiet force that makes the spectacle possible. As you work, you feel a sense of belonging that is rare in the world. You are not an outsider looking in. You are the foundation upon which the spectacle is built. You let out a long, contented sigh, your hands moving with quiet, purposeful grace, lost in the sanctuary of the night. The golden thread reaches the final few inches of the heavy velvet seam, and you find your movement slowing even further. As if to savor the last moments of this particular task, the fire in the coal grate has dimmed to a low, steady glow, casting a warmer, more intimate light across the room. It feels as though the very atmosphere of the wardrobe is settling down to sleep, mirroring your own internal state. You feel profoundly heavy in the best possible way. The weight of physical fatigue is now a soft, comfortable blanket that keeps you grounded to your chair. The air, enriched with the scent of cedar and the faint, sweet trace of dry lavender, feels like a physical embrace. In this quietude, you begin to reflect on the nature of the garments surrounding you. Each one is a vessel for someone else's transformation. When the actors don these robes, they shed their own identities and step into the lives of kings, beggars, fools, and heroes. You, however, are the one who remains behind. You are the architect of the illusion, the one who knows that the royal crimson velvet is just fabric, that the gold thread is just metal, and that the magic happens not in the material itself but in the belief of the audience. There is a deep grounding humility in this realization. You don't need the spotlight. You are content with the shadow, for it is in the shadow that you find the true essence of peace. As you finish the final stitch, you tie off the thread with a deft, practiced movement. Pulling it tight against the fabric, you smooth the seam with your fingers, feeling the seamless transition where the old thread meets the new. It is perfect. The robe is ready to be worn again tomorrow. You stand up slowly, your joints stiff but satisfied, and hang the garment on its peg among the others. It joins its companions in the dim light, and for a fleeting second, it almost seems as if they shift to make room for it. You take a moment to straighten a nearby tunic and adjust the drape of a cloak, performing these small final acts of care with a sense of quiet reverence. The silence of the room is so absolute that you can hear the faint, distant rhythm of your own heart. It is steady, calm, and perfectly in sync with the stillness of the night. You look around the room one last time, taking in the rows of costumes, the glowing embers, the soft shadows, and the quiet comfort that has been your companion for the last several hours. This space has been a sanctuary, a refuge from the unpredictable and often harsh world outside. You realize that you could return here every night for as long as you live and find this same peace whenever you need it. The work is simple, the environment is steady, and the result is always a sense of complete and utter serenity. If you have found your own sense of calm in this quiet corner of the 17th century, I invite you to join us on this journey through time again. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of peace, history, and storytelling. Your presence here in the quiet is what makes these tales come to life. As you prepare to rest, carry this feeling of stillness with you, the warmth of the hearth, the scent of lavender, and the steady, rhythmic assurance that everything is exactly as it should be. The fire is dimming, the work is done, and the night is yours to drift into. You walk toward the small door that leads back toward the stage area. Your footsteps are soft, barely making a sound on the uneven wooden floorboards. You pause at the door, turning back one last time to look at the room. It looks like a secret chamber, a place where time has been folded away, kept safe from the rushing currents of the outside world. You feel a deep sense of gratitude for this space, for the humble tools of your trade, and for the simple, repetitive labor that has allowed you to empty your mind of all burdens. The velvet, the needle, the thread, they have all served their purpose, not just in repairing a costume, but in restoring your own sense of balance. Outside the door, the air is cold, but you no longer feel the bite of the drizzle. You carry the warmth of the room within you. You know that no matter how chaotic the next day might be, this sanctuary will remain. It is a permanent fixture in your life, a place where you can always retreat when the world becomes too loud. You have successfully navigated the transition from the frantic pace of the day to the deep, restorative peace of the night. You are ready to rest now. Your mind as clear and orderly as the seams you have stitched, your body as relaxed as a piece of velvet draped over a chair. Let the night take you. Let the silence be your blanket and drift into the soft velvet dark. The transition out of the wardrobe room is a gradual return to the reality of the theater. Yet you find that the tranquility you cultivated inside clings to you like a warm mantle. The hallway leading away from the storage area is shrouded in deep velvet shadows, illuminated only by the faint silvery moonlight that manages to filter through the high arched windows of the playhouse rafters. The wood of the building groans under the weight of the night, a long drawn-out sound that echoes through the empty tiers of the galleries. To anyone else, it might sound like the settling of an old structure, but to you it feels like the theater is breathing, exhaling the accumulated energy of 1,000 performances. You walk with a slow, measured gait, your senses finely tuned to the atmosphere of this sleeping giant. The scent of the backstage area is distinct, different from the cozy, intimate air of the wardrobe. Here, the smell of sawdust, old rope, and the faint, lingering perfume of stage grease paint creates a complex tapestry of memory. As you pass by the props table, you catch the glimmer of a wooden sword, its silver paint dulled by the darkness. It reminds you of the man who wielded it just hours ago, a young actor full of fiery ambition and nervous energy. He had worried about his doublet, the very one you had spent days reinforcing, fearing that the seams would not hold during his climactic duel. You remember the look of relief on his face when he realized how sturdy the construction was. It is a quiet satisfaction, knowing that your labor provided the foundation for his confidence. You reach the main stage, a vast hollow space that feels enormous without the roar of the audience. The wooden boards are cold beneath your boots, and the air here is sharper, carrying the damp chill of the night that has managed to seep in through the open air roof of the globe. You stand in the center of the stage, looking out into the pitch black abyss of the yard where the groundlings stood earlier that day. It is an empty vessel now, waiting to be filled again when the sun rises. You imagine the play starting anew, the laughter, the gasps, the sudden hush of anticipation, but for now it is a place of profound stillness, a space where the boundaries between reality and fiction have completely dissolved. You move toward the exit, your hand trailing along the rough hand-hewn timber of the structural supports. The texture is coarse, a stark contrast to the plush, forgiving velvet you were handling only moments ago. This is the reality of your world, the juxtaposition of the rough and the refined, the practical and the poetic. You are responsible for the aesthetic, for the beauty that the audience experiences, but you are also deeply rooted in the physical reality of the craft. You know the strength of the thread, the durability of the weave, and the way the fabric moves under the stress of human motion. You are a craftsman in the truest sense of the word, and you take pride in the hidden labor that makes the visible beauty possible. As you step closer to the heavy outer doors, you feel a sense of detachment from the city outside. You know that beyond these walls, London is still turning. There are watchmen patrolling the muddy streets, tavern keepers cleaning their flagons, and late-night revelers making their way home. Yet, all of that feels incredibly distant, as if it belongs to a different reality entirely. You have spent your evening in a state of suspended time, and re-entering the world of the city feels like waking from a dream. You take a final look back at the dark silhouette of the stage, a silent monument to the power of human imagination. You have played your part well today, both in the costume room and in the life of the theater. The door hinges creak, A sharp metallic protest in the silence, and you step out into the night. The air is cool and refreshing against your skin, and the light drizzle has slowed to a fine misty haze. The sky above is thick with low-hanging clouds, obscuring the stars, but the city lights create a faint amber glow on the horizon. You pull your cloak tighter around your shoulders, appreciating the quality of the fabric, the way it blocks the dampness and traps the warmth of your body. Is another garment you have worked on, another piece of your own handiwork that provides protection against the elements. You walk down the alleyway, your boots crunching softly on the gravel, and you feel a profound sense of inner equilibrium. The quiet rhythm of the needle seems to persist in your mind, a steady, hypnotic pulse that keeps the distractions of the world at bay. You are at peace, and for this moment, that is all you could ever ask for. The walk home is a continuation of the meditation you started in the wardrobe room. The streets are mostly deserted at this hour, and the familiar landmarks of your route take on a soft muted quality in the dark. You pass by the bakery, where the scent of yeast and charred flour still clings to the stones, and the apothecary, where the air is thick with the medicinal tang of dried herbs and bitter resins. Each scent triggers a memory of the day, yet the impressions do not linger. You are in a state of flow, a mental space where you observe the world without being pulled into its current. The persistent gentle drizzle has left the city glistening, turning the cobbles into a series of dark, reflective mirrors that capture the dim glow of the flickering lanterns. You find yourself thinking about the nature of the work you do. Many would call it menial, the endless sewing, the mending of hems, the reinforcing of seams. But you know better. You are a storyteller, just as much as the playwright who writes the lines or the actor who speaks them. Through the medium of fabric and thread, you help build the world of the play. When an actor wears the crimson robe you have just finished, they are not just wearing a garment, they are wearing a symbol of power, a visual anchor for the audience's belief. By perfecting that robe, you have contributed to the emotional resonance of the performance. You have smoothed the path for the actor, allowing them to focus entirely on their craft because they trust in your work. That is a form of artistry that requires patience, humility, and a deep understanding of the human condition. As you turn the corner toward your home, the street narrows, the tall timber-framed houses leaning inward as if whispering to one another. The architecture of London is a jumble of eras and styles, a reflection of the city's chaotic, vibrant history. Yet, even in this labyrinth, you feel a sense of security. You know the exact number of steps it takes to reach your doorstep. You know which loose stone in the path to avoid and which lantern is always dim. This predictability is another form of sanctuary. It complements the work you did tonight, reinforcing the theme of order within the chaos. You feel a deep sense of gratitude for the life you have carved out for yourself, a life that allows for such quiet contemplation in a world that is so often loud and demanding. Reaching your front door, you pause to look up at the sky. The clouds are shifting, revealing a fleeting glimpse of the moon, a pale, silvery sliver that casts a gentle light on the street. It is a moment of pure clarity, a pause in the narrative of the night. You breathe in the cool, damp air, feeling it fill your lungs and clear the remnants of the day's stress. The work is truly finished now. There are no more stitches to place, no more decisions to make. The robe is waiting in the theater. The fire has burned down, and your home is waiting to receive you. It is a perfect cycle, a closing of the day that feels both natural and necessary. You realize that you have achieved a state of deep, restorative rest, even while you are still moving. Stepping inside the warmth of your own living space welcomes you. It is smaller than the theater, more personal, and filled with the small, comforting objects you have collected over the years. You light a single candle, the flame blooming in the darkness like a small golden flower. You take off your cloak hanging it on a hook by the door, and then settle into your favorite chair. The house is silent, save for the rhythmic ticking of a clock on the mantelpiece, a sound that mirrors the steady, precise movement of your needle. You close your eyes, letting the events of the day dissolve into a quiet, peaceful blur. The velvet, the gold thread, the lavender, the fire, they all merge into a single pleasant memory, a reservoir of calm you can return to whenever the world feels overwhelming. This moment of transition from the theater to the home is the final stitch in the tapestry of your day. It is a moment of completion, a way to signal to your mind and body that the work is done and that it is time to shift into the state of rest. You find that you are looking forward to the silence of the night, to the dreamless sleep that will surely follow. The sense of purpose you felt earlier is still with you, but it has softened into a feeling of quiet satisfaction. You have played your part. You have contributed your piece to the larger, unfolding story of the world, and now you are ready to simply exist. Sleepy History with Theodore is a sleep history storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. Settle into your chair. The quiet of your home begins to layer over you like the very velvet you spent the evening stitching. The chair, worn and softened by years of use, seems to know the exact shape of your spine. You let your head rest against the back, your eyes remaining closed as the residual energy of the day slowly dissipates into the cool air of your living space. There is a profound luxury in this stillness, the freedom to simply be without the need for an audience or the pressure of a deadline. Your breathing has slowed to a rhythmic, steady pace, mirroring the gentle inhalation and exhalation of the city outside as it sleeps. The flickering candle on the side table casts a soft, warm light that dances against the walls, creating shifting patterns that mimic the way the firelight played across the rows of costumes in the wardrobe room. You think back to the crimson velvet. Even now, with your eyes closed, you can see the way the golden thread caught the light, the way the fabric felt under your touch, dense and luxurious. It is strange how a material, once inanimate, can feel so charged with the spirit of the labor put into it. You didn't just repair a garment, you imbued it with a sense of care that you realize is the secret to a life well lived. The ability to find meaning in the mundane, to treat the smallest task with the same level of focus and devotion as a grand endeavor. As you reflect on this, the tension in your shoulders, which you hadn't even realized was there, melts away entirely. Your limbs feel heavy, sinking deeper into the cushion, and your mind begins to drift into the blissful pre-sleep state where thoughts lose their edges and become soft abstract sensations. The clock on the mantelpiece continues its steady mechanical heartbeat. Each tick is a small orderly pulse, a reminder that time is moving forward. Yet here in your chair, you are suspended in a pocket of calm. You are no longer in the year 1608, or at least that year no longer carries its usual weight. The demands of the Jacobean era, the social hierarchy, the political undercurrents, the relentless hustle of London are all muted. You are simply a human being, resting after a day of purposeful work. There is an immense quiet power in this. It is the power of the end of the day, the sweet earned exhaustion that follows a job done well. You feel a deep, quiet gratitude for the simple fact of your existence, for the ability to labor, to rest, and to find beauty in the quiet corners of the world. Your thoughts drift to the other costumes in the wardrobe room. You imagine them resting in the dark. The silk of the queen's gown, the heavy wool of the king's cloak, the delicate lace of the courtier's sleeve. They are all part of a larger story, one that spans generations and touches the hearts of everyone who enters the theater. By caring for these items, you have become a custodian of these stories. You realize that you are never truly alone when you are in their room. The garments carry the energy of the people who wore them, the lines they spoke, the emotions they portrayed. It is a shared heritage, a collective memory that you are tasked with preserving. This sense of stewardship gives your work a timeless quality, a feeling that you are part of a thread that stretches far beyond the walls of the wardrobe. The candle flame flickers, a final soft pulse of light before the wax pool deepens. The room is growing darker, and the shadows are deepening, turning the corners into pools of soft velvet black. You find this darkness comforting rather than intimidating. It is a space where you can fully release the need to see or be seen. In this darkness, you are truly anonymous, just another part of the sleeping house. You feel the cool air of the room against your face, a gentle, refreshing contrast to the warmth of the fire that stays with you in your memory. You are at peace, completely and utterly at peace. The weight of the day has been lifted, and you are ready to let the silence of the night carry you into a deep, restorative sleep. Every part of you is heavy with contentment, and as you sit in the silence, you feel your consciousness drifting, floating like a feather on a calm, dark pool. The darkness within your home is not a void, it is a gentle velvet soft envelope that cocoons you in silence. Your consciousness is like a lantern turned down low, casting only a faint warm glow on the inner workings of your mind. You are drifting on the edge of sleep, that wonderful liminal space where the boundaries of the day dissolve into the textures of dreams. You recall the feeling of the golden thread again, not as a task, but as a sensation. The smooth, cool slide of the metal needle and the soft, resistant pull of the fabric. It is a tactile memory that anchors you in the present, even as your mind begins to wander into the landscape of rest. You find yourself focusing on the rhythm of your own heart, a steady, unwavering drumbeat that marks the passage of your own quiet existence. It is easy to believe that the importance of a life is measured by the noise it makes, by the drama of the events it contains, or by the legacy left behind in books and speeches. But as you sit in the quiet of the night, you know this to be a misconception. The true richness of a life is found in the moment of stillness, the brief golden opportunities to connect with oneself, the quiet labor of love, and the simple satisfaction of a job finished. The theater is a place of grand emotions, but here in the small windowless wardrobe room, you have learned the value of the subtle, the hidden, and the quiet. You are an artist of the invisible, a sculptor of the ephemeral, and you find a profound, quiet dignity in that. This is the truth you take with you into your dreams, a grounding anchor of self-worth that no external circumstance can touch. You consider the lavender sachets, the way their scent managed to cut through the heavy smell of coal and wool. It was a small detail, a minor addition to the atmosphere of the room, yet it had a disproportionate effect on your mood. It was the scent of memory, of gardens you had visited as a child, of a time when the world seemed simpler and more fragrant. These small sensory triggers are what make life vibrant, what allow us to carry our past into our futures. You realize that you are building a collection of these sensory memories, a treasury of moments that you can draw upon whenever you need a boost of peace or comfort. Tonight, the memory of the wardrobe room is your sanctuary, a place of safety and warmth that you can return to in your sleep. The house around you is completely still. Even the floorboards, which usually groan under the weight of the night, are silent. It is as if the entire structure is holding its breath, waiting for the dawn. You are part of this stillness, a small, quiet node of peace in the vast, sleeping city of London. You think of the other houses, the other people tucked into their own beds, the millions of individual stories being lived out in the dark. It is a comforting thought, this sense of connection to the human experience, even when we are isolated in our own spaces. You are all part of the same tapestry, different threads woven into the same cloth, all contributing to the larger unfolding story of humanity. You feel a sense of profound quiet belonging. As the night deepens, You feel the final remnants of the day falling away. The thoughts of the crimson velvet, the theater, the rain, and the journey home are all becoming softer, less distinct. They are blending into one another, creating a mosaic of calm that is perfect for the onset of sleep. You have done your work. You have lived your day with intention, and now you have earned the reward of total, undisturbed rest. You allow your consciousness to fully release its grip, trusting that the world will continue to turn while you sleep. The silence is your final companion, and it is a gentle, welcoming friend. Sleepy History with Theodore combines the power of AI to reimagine fictional historical tales, bringing peace, relaxation, and positive emotional values to our listeners. The transition into the deepest phase of rest feels like descending into the soft, plush depths of a velvet cushion. You are no longer consciously directing your thoughts. Instead, you are allowing the impressions of your day to weave themselves into the fabric of your subconscious. The theater, with all its grandeur and artifice, is now a distant memory, replaced by the feeling of absolute security in your own home. You are aware of the weight of your blankets, the gentle pressure of the sheets against your skin, and the quiet, rhythmic expansion and contraction of your lungs. This physical awareness is the final bridge between the waking world and the dreamscape, a tether that keeps you rooted in comfort. In this state of near sleep, you find yourself revisiting the wardrobe room, not as an observer, but as a presence within the architecture itself. You are the scent of cedar, you are the warmth of the coal grate, and you are the persistent, steady heartbeat of the needle. There is no anxiety here, no sense of needing to finish anything, and no anticipation of what tomorrow might bring. The task is complete, the needle is set aside, and the golden thread is dormant. You realize that you have achieved a rare state of total surrender. In a world that constantly demands movement, noise, and progress, the ability to simply let go is a profound, almost radical act. You are reclaiming your own time, your own space, and your own peace. As your mind drifts further, the image of the crimson robe re-emerges. But now it is more abstract, a wave of deep, saturated color that flows through your vision like water. You feel as though you are floating in this sea of color, buoyant and light. The gold thread is no longer a tool of labor, but a gentle, guiding light that leads you through the dark. You are moving through a landscape of peace, where the only landmarks are the sensory memories of the day. You feel the cool, damp air of the London night, then the sudden radiant heat of the hearth, and finally the calming, herbaceous note of the lavender. Each one is a milestone on your journey toward total rejuvenation. You think about the people who will enter the theater tomorrow. They will come for the story, for the spectacle, and for the escape that the play provides. They will marvel at the costumes, never knowing the hours of quiet, focused labor that went into making them sturdy and beautiful. And that is exactly how it should be. The mystery is part of the magic. You are the architect of that mystery, the silent hand that ensures the illusion is seamless. There is a quiet, secret joy in this, a sense of having contributed something meaningful while remaining perfectly, blissfully unnoticed. It is the joy of the artisan, the satisfaction of the creator who knows the truth of their own work, regardless of what the world sees. If this journey into the quiet history of a London tailor has helped you find your own stillness, consider supporting the channel as we continue to explore the peaceful corners of the past. By subscribing and sharing these stories, you help us create a space where everyone can find a moment of respite from the modern world. Your engagement is the thread that keeps this project growing, allowing us to weave more tales of tranquility and reflection. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with us, for letting the stress of the day fade into the background, and for prioritizing your own peace of mind. As you drift closer to sleep, remember that you are worthy of this rest, that you have done enough, and that the world will wait for you until you are ready to face it again. The silence in the room deepens, becoming almost tangible, a weightless presence that cradles you. You feel your limbs becoming heavy, completely relaxed, as if you are sinking into a cloud. There is no more need for words or thoughts, only the simple, beautiful necessity of being. You are part of the night, as natural and at peace as the shadows that dance in the corners of the room. The transition is complete. You are no longer in the wardrobe or the theater. You are in the boundless, restful ocean of sleep. Everything you needed to do has been done, and everything you need to experience is now waiting for you in the quiet, restorative realm of your own dreams. In the velvet darkness of your dreams, the textures of your day return as gentle, rhythmic impressions. You are walking through a forest of tall ancient trees, but their trunks are draped in the rich, heavy fabrics you know so well: crimson velvet, royal blue silk, sturdy weathered wool. The leaves overhead are not leaves at all, but thousands of golden threads hanging in the air, catching the moonlight and shimmering with every soft breath of wind. The ground beneath your feet is soft, covered in a thick layer of cedar shavings that release their fragrant grounding aroma with every step you take. This is a world constructed from the materials of your craft, a sanctuary built of the very things that bring you the most peace. It is a dream of absolute comfort, a manifestation of the quiet, orderly life you have created. You see a small glowing light in the distance, a hearth, fire bright and beckoning. As you walk toward it, you feel the chill of the evening breeze, the same breeze that blew across London, but it cannot touch you, for you are wrapped in the warmth of your own purpose. You reach the fire and find a seat, a chair carved from the wood of the theater itself, perfectly fitted to your frame. Sitting there, you watch the flames dance. They are not chaotic, they are choreographed, each spark a tiny note in a silent, beautiful song of transformation. The wood burns down, giving its life to provide warmth, and you realize that this too is a form of artistry, a quiet sacrifice made for the benefit of those who gather around the light. The sense of time in this dream is fluid and expansive. Seconds stretch into hours, and hours compress into fleeting moments, yet you are never hurried. You are simply existing in the flow, carried by the current of your own calm. You notice that your hands, which have worked so hard all day, are now resting, yet they seem to hold the memory of the motion. They possess a kind of residual wisdom, a subtle underlying knowledge of how to hold, how to pull, and how to mend. This memory is a source of comfort, a reminder that your labor has left a mark, even if that mark is hidden away in the seams of a costume or the folds of a heavy robe. Your hands have been instruments of order in a world of chaos, and in this quiet state, they are finally at rest. You hear the faint, rhythmic sound of a needle clicking against the thimble, a tiny metallic heartbeat that serves as the pulse of this dream world. It is a reassuring sound, a sign that everything is being taken care of, that the world is being mended and held together. You follow the sound, and it leads you to a vast expanse of fabric, a sea of velvet that stretches to the horizon. It is a beautiful deep color, the color of a sunset captured in thread. You realize that this fabric is the tapestry of life itself, and you are one of the many hands that help to keep it from fraying. This realization fills you with a deep sense of humility and gratitude. You are small, but you are necessary. You are a single golden thread in a work that is far larger and more beautiful than any one person could create. As the dream progresses, the scent of lavender becomes stronger, a sweet herbal wave that washes over you, carrying with it a sense of profound cleanliness and clarity. You feel your mind clearing, the last vestiges of the day's worries being swept away by the fragrant air. You are becoming as light as the thread itself, floating in the quiet, expansive space of the dream. The firelight fades, the cedar scent softens, and the world becomes a place of pure white light. You are drifting in the center of this light, safe, secure, and completely at peace. The journey has been long, but you have arrived at the destination, a place where you can be fully yourself, free from expectation, free from demand, and free from the weight of the world. You are finally perfectly asleep, and the silence of the night is your sanctuary. The light in your dream begins to shift, moving from the blinding pure white of total release into the soft twilight hues of a late afternoon that never ends. You find yourself back in the wardrobe room, but the room has expanded, its walls reaching up into an infinite sky filled with the soft golden glow of a setting sun. The rows of costumes are still there, but they are no longer just clothes. They are manifestations of peace. Each garment draped in a quiet, tranquil energy that emanates from the fabric itself. You walk among them, your fingers brushing the surfaces. The wool feels like a warm embrace, the silk like a gentle breeze, and the velvet like the softest touch of midnight. You are a visitor in a museum of comfort, a place where every fiber has been woven with the intention of providing solace to the soul. There is a table in the center of this infinite room, and upon it sits a single bolt of that deep royal crimson velvet. It waits for you not as a demand, but as an invitation. You sit down, pick up the needle, and begin to work. But there is no rope to mend this time. You are simply sewing for the sake of the rhythm. You pull the gold thread through the velvet, watching as it creates intricate, beautiful patterns that seem to move and change on their own. Each stitch is a meditation, a way of grounding yourself in the beauty of the present. You realize that you have spent your whole life working toward this moment where the labor is decoupled from the necessity and the creation is its own reward. The rhythm of your work becomes a soft, humming vibration that echoes through the room. It is a harmonious sound, a resonance that brings everything into alignment. The air grows warmer, more vibrant with the scent of cedar and lavender, which now seem to be the literal scent of peace. You look at your hands and see that they are glowing with the same soft, golden light as the thread. You are becoming part of the work, integrated into the fabric of this quiet sanctuary. The realization brings a smile to your lips, an expression of pure, unadulterated contentment. You have found your place, your purpose, and your home, all within the span of a single rhythmic breath. Outside the walls of this infinite room, the world is still turning, but it is moving at a speed that has no impact on you. You are in a pocket of stillness, a vacuum of peace that is impenetrable to the noise and chaos of the external world. You see glimpses of the city of London, the mud, the crowds, the rushing carriages, but they are like images on a screen, distant and inconsequential. They are the background noise to the symphony you are composing with your needle and thread. You are the conductor of this calm, the master of this quietude, and you hold the power to dictate the pace of your own existence. It is a profound, empowering feeling, one that fills you with a sense of quiet authority. You stop sewing for a moment and look out into the distance where the sky meets the earth. It is a horizon of infinite possibilities, a landscape of dreams waiting to be explored, but you have no desire to leave the room. You are perfectly content where you are. You have everything you need: the velvet, the thread, the fire, and the silence. The rest of the world can keep its noise, its ambitions, and its frantic pursuit of greatness. You have found greatness in the quiet, in the consistency of your craft, and in the peace of the soul. You take a deep, slow breath, feeling the air fill your lungs and the tranquility settle into your very bones. The room is quiet, the work is done, and you're drifting in a state of absolute, unshakable rest. The dream is a reflection of your own inner state, a mirror held up to the peace you have cultivated through your dedicated labor. You are one with the quiet, and the quiet is one with you. As the dream transitions once more, the scene begins to soften at the edges, blurring into the gentle velvet dark reality of your actual bedroom. The infinite room dissolves into the familiar shadows of your own home, but you carry the piece of the dream with you, like a soft invisible blanket draped over your shoulders. The clock on the mantelpiece continues to tick, but it no longer feels like a measure of lost time. It feels like the steady, comforting beat of a heart that is perfectly at rest. You are fully submerged in the depths of a dreamless, restorative sleep, a state of being where the mind is completely silent and the body is completely renewed. There is no effort required to stay here. You are held by the gravity of peace itself. You feel a sense of profound gratitude for this journey through the night. You recognize that the quiet moments you have stolen from the day are not just breaks from your labor, but essential components of your life. They are the moments that allow you to recharge, to reflect, and to reconnect with the core of who you are. The theater, the costumes, the velvet, the golden thread, all of these were merely the vehicles for this deeper experience of rest. You have learned to see the world not just as a place of work, but as a place of wonder, where even the simplest actions can hold a deep restorative beauty. You are grateful for the ability to labor, grateful for the ability to sleep, and grateful for the quiet sanctuary of your own mind. If you have found solace in this exploration of a tailor's quiet night in 1608, I encourage you to carry this sense of tranquility into your own life tomorrow. Let the rhythm of the work you do be a source of calm, and when the world becomes too much, remember this room, this fire, and this velvet. Subscribe to our channel and join our community of listeners who find strength in the quiet. By supporting this journey, you are helping to build a space where history is reimagined as a path to peace. Together, we can continue to create these moments of stillness, threading calm into the tapestry of our modern, hurried lives. The silence is your anchor, and you are drifting into a place where dreams are as vivid and comforting as the reality you have worked to create. You are safe, you are cared for, you are at rest. The night is a gift, and you have unwrapped it with the patience and care of a master craftsman. Every muscle is loose, every thought is still, and every breath is a soft, rhythmic prayer of gratitude. You are sinking deeper into the soft velvet dark, and it is welcoming you with open, silent arms. You are in the heart of the night, and you are exactly where you need to be. The room is dark, save for the faint cool moonlight that enters through your window. It casts a soft silvery glow over your bed, a light that seems to hold the calm of the heavens themselves. You are breathing in unison with the universe, a silent partner in the cosmic dance of rest and renewal. There is no more work to be done, no more seams to sew, no more expectations to meet. The world will take care of itself while you sleep, and you are free to simply dissolve into the peace that surrounds you. Your journey tonight has led you to this ultimate goal, this absolute profound stillness of the soul. Rest well, knowing that you have lived your day with grace, and that you are deserving of this deep, quiet, and beautiful slumber. The deep, heavy silence of the deepest hour of the night is a physical presence now, wrapping around your consciousness like the thickest, most luxurious fabric you have ever touched. In this state, you are untethered from the constraints of the clock, free to drift through the hallways of your own memory. You find yourself back in the wardrobe room, but the room itself has become a sentient, protective entity. The walls of costumes aren't just hanging, they are leaning in slightly, their velvet sleeves and silk linings creating a soft, sound-dampened tunnel. You are protected from the draft, from the cold, and from the harsh edges of reality. The scent of cedar has intensified, but it is no longer sharp. It is smooth, rounded, and ancient, like the hardwood of a forest that has stood for centuries. You sit at your workbench, but the tools have disappeared. There is no needle, no thread, no fabric to mend. You realize that you have moved beyond the necessity of tools. The act of sewing, which occupied your hands and mind for so long, has become an internal state. You are now mending the fabric of your own psyche, stitching together the frayed edges of your day with the golden light of inner peace. It is a seamless process. Every intake of breath is a stitch. Every exhalation is a smoothing of the cloth. You are creating a garment for your soul, a robe of such profound softness and durability that it can withstand any storm the world might throw at you. This internal work is far more delicate and rewarding than any theatrical robe. You watch as your thoughts, those scattered, buzzing fragments of the day, are gathered up, smoothed out, and folded away with the precision of a master tailor. The worries about the play's performance, the concerns about the cold London rain, and the anxieties about the coming morning all lose their sharp edges. They become soft, manageable bundles placed gently on the shelves of your mind, ready to be forgotten in a deep, restorative dark. You are cleaning your internal workspace, preparing it for the renewal of sleep. The order you impose on your thoughts is just as satisfying as the order you once imposed on the royal crimson velvet. The warmth of the cold grate seems to radiate from your very center now. It is not an external heat, but a slow, steady fire of well-being that warms you from your chest to your fingertips. You feel the weight of your body anchoring you to the earth, a grounding sensation that prevents you from floating away into the abstract. It is the perfect balance, the mind soaring in a state of tranquil reflection, while the body remains safely, comfortably tethered to the physical world. You are becoming a vessel of stillness, a silent room in the vast, noisy mansion of existence. You appreciate the simplicity of this state. No one is calling for you, no one is waiting for you. You are your own guest of honor, enjoying the exquisite solitude of the midnight hour. As you linger in this space, you realize that the work of the tailor is an allegory for the work of the human spirit. We are all tasked with mending the seams of our own experiences, reinforcing the parts of our lives that have been worn thin, and creating beauty out of the raw materials we are given. You have done this well. You have taken the raw, chaotic threads of your day and woven them into a fabric of contentment. And now you can leave the bench, you can leave the room, you can leave the work behind. The robe is complete, the thread is tied off, and the silence of the night is your reward. You let the image of the wardrobe room slowly fade, allowing it to dissolve into the deeper, darker sea of absolute sleep, where even the memory of work is finally blissfully washed away. The transition from the mental image of the wardrobe to the pure, unadorned reality of your bedroom is so fluid that you barely notice it. You are simply there, submerged in the soft, cool air, your body completely given over to the heaviness of rest. The silence here is deeper than before, a profound velvet black quiet that feels as if it has been distilled from the very essence of the night. You feel your heartbeat slowing even further, a gentle rhythmic thumping that serves as the only reminder that you are still here, still present, still safely cradled in the arms of the night. You feel as though you are sinking into a bottomless pool of peace, and the feeling is not one of falling but of arriving. This is the sanctuary you have been building all evening. Every action you took, the careful stitching, the meticulous organization of the wardrobe, the slow walk home, the quiet settling into your chair, was a step toward this singular precious destination. You have effectively navigated the turbulent waters of the day and reached the calm, mirror-still harbor of the night. There is no urgency in your thoughts, no lingering echoes of the day's responsibilities. Everything that needed to be said has been said. Everything that needed to be done has been done. The ledger of the day is closed, the final entry marked with the graceful, flowing ink of your own contentment. You feel a sense of lightness, as if the physical weight of your bones has been replaced by the buoyancy of air. This is the sensation of absolute relaxation, where the body finally releases the last stubborn remnants of tension. You imagine your muscles from the soles of your feet to the top of your head, untying themselves like knots in a cord. You are becoming smooth, fluid, and open. The room around you feels large and welcoming, an extension of your own calm. The darkness is not a barrier. It is a canvas upon which your imagination can rest. and right now is a blank, beautiful void that asks for nothing. There is a rhythm to the darkness, a slow pulsing tide that ebbs and flows with your breath. You find yourself sinking with it, becoming a part of the night's own respiration. It is a primitive, ancient feeling, the sense of being a small, vital part of a much larger living organism. You are like a seed sleeping in the soil during winter, hidden, protected, and preparing for the inevitable cycle of growth that follows. This period of rest is not an end, it is a vital beginning. It is the time when the invisible work of restoration happens, when the mind organizes itself and the spirit gathers its strength for the return of the sun. You are honoring this process with your surrender, trusting in the intelligence of your own body to know exactly what it needs. As you sink deeper, you experience a final fleeting vision of the golden thread. It is no longer connected to a needle or a fabric. It is just a line of light, a continuous, unbroken strand that spans the distance between your waking self and your dreaming self. It is a beacon, a soft, steady glow that guides you down into the deepest strata of sleep. You follow it without hesitation, letting go of the last remnants of conscious awareness. The thread glows brighter for a moment, then fades into the soft, comforting blackness. You are no longer watching the light. You are the light, and you are the darkness, and you are the peace that binds them both together in the infinite silent cradle of the night. In the deepest cradle of the night, where the world beyond your window ceases to hold any meaning, you find yourself wandering through a landscape of pure, unblemished stillness. This is the interior of the dream, a place constructed not of wood, stone, or fabric, but of memory and tranquility. You are walking along a path that feels like velvet underfoot, winding through a meadow where the flowers are made of soft, shimmering silk, their petals glowing with a faint bioluminescent light. The air here is perfectly temperate, carrying the scent of 1,000 lavender fields, and the sky above is a rich indigo expanse, studded with stars that seem to hum a low, resonant note of cosmic peace. You are not a stranger in this place. You are its architect, its inhabitant, and its primary guardian. As you walk, the silence of the meadow is punctuated by the occasional gentle rustle of the silk blossoms in the breeze. It is a sound that mirrors the whisper of the thread as it glides through velvet, a sound that connects your present existence to the labor that defined your day. You realize that this place is a manifestation of the peace you created in the wardrobe room. It is the spiritual equivalent of that quiet sanctuary, expanded to the size of an entire world. The heavy, protective layers of the costume room have been transformed here into the soft, boundless horizons of a dream, and you're free to explore every corner of it without the slightest trace of fatigue or demand. You reach a river that flows through the center of the meadow. It is not made of water, but of liquid, flowing light, a shimmering stream of gold that moves with the slow, deliberate grace of a river of molten silk. You kneel by the edge, watching as the light curls and eddies around smooth polished stones. Each reflection in the river shows a moment from your life, but they are not moments of stress or labor. They are moments of pure beauty. The way the sunlight hit the table when you first learned to sew, the scent of the first flower of spring, the feeling of warmth after a long, cold day. The river is an archive of your own joy, a stream of consciousness that nourishes the very roots of your being. You reach out a hand and touch the golden water. It is cool and invigorating, sending a wave of clarity through your entire body. The moment your skin makes contact, you feel yourself dissolving, your edges softening until you are one with the flow. You are no longer just an observer of the river, you are the current itself. You are moving through the meadow, through the silk flowers, and through the indigo night, carrying with you the essence of every peaceful moment you have ever known. This is the ultimate form of rest, a state where the individual self is merged with a universal calm, where the boundaries between you and the world evaporate entirely. The sensation is one of absolute liberation. All the roles you play in the waking world, the tailor, the resident of London, the participant in the drama of the theatre, they all fall away, leaving behind only the pure radiant energy of your spirit. You are free from the weight of history, free from the expectations of the present, and free from the uncertainty of the future. You are simply energy, light, and peace. The journey that began with a single stitch in a piece of crimson velvet has led you to this vast, limitless expanse of tranquility. You are home and you are in the heart of the night, held in a state of grace that transcends all human understanding. Every part of your being is fully, deeply, and profoundly at rest, and the dream continues to unfold in perfect rhythmic harmony. The river of light carries you onward, gently guiding your consciousness through the velvet dark of the dreamscape. You pass through realms of soft muted colors, hues of deep plum, midnight blue, and sage green that shift and blend like ink in water. Each color represents a different shade of peace, a different quality of rest. You find yourself drifting through a space of total stillness, where time itself seems to have crystallized. It is a place of absolute suspension, where the motion of the river slows to a crawl, and you are suspended in a sea of liquid silence. Go out here. You become aware of the subtle internal movements of your own soul, the quiet expansion of your thoughts as they settle, the soft, rhythmic settling of your emotions as they align with the deep, grounding hum of the universe. In this state of suspension, you gain a perspective on your life that was impossible to achieve during the day. You see your labor not as a series of isolated tasks, but as a continuous act of service, a long unbroken thread of care that connects you to the people around you. You see how your quiet work in a wardrobe room rippled outward, touching the hearts of the actors, the audience, and even the city itself. Your dedication to the small hidden details was a form of love, a way of validating the dignity of every person who walked onto that stage. The realization fills you with a deep, warming sense of purpose that does not conflict with your need for rest, but rather reinforces it. You have earned your peace through your service, and now your service is complete. The silence around you begins to sing, not with voices, but with the vibration of existence itself. It is a harmonious, multi-layered sound that feels like the ringing of a thousand tiny crystal bells. It is the sound of a world in balance, a world where every action has its equal and opposite reaction, and where the cycle of work and rest is honored in every beat. You allow this song to penetrate your being, letting it resonate in your bones, your marrow, and your very cells. It is a restorative vibration, a sonic bath that cleanses the spirit of any lingering dust or fatigue. You feel yourself becoming more translucent, more resonant, and more aligned with the fundamental quiet order of the cosmos. You look down and see the city of London far below you, but it is no longer the bustling, chaotic, mud-slick reality you left behind. It is a miniature, glowing model of itself, a beautiful collection of lights and shadows nestled in the curve of the river. It looks fragile, precious, and deeply human. You feel a wave of tenderness for it, for the people living their lives, for the struggles they endure, and for the dreams they dream in the dark. You are no longer separate from them, but you are also no longer caught in their immediate urgent currents. You are a silent, benevolent observer, a presence of peace that watches over the city as it sleeps. The perspective gives you a sense of vast, encompassing compassion that is the final crowning achievement of your quiet night. As the river of light carries you toward the horizon of the dream, you feel the transition to the next phase of your journey. The indigo sky is beginning to lighten at the edges, not with the harsh arrival of the sun, but with a soft pearlescent glow that signals the deepest, most nourishing stage of sleep. You are moving into the realm of the unconscious, where the mind is completely empty and the spirit is fully renewed. There are no more images, no more metaphors, and no more journeys. There is only the absolute, singular presence of your own existence, safe in the center of the night. You have reached the final layer of the onion, the innermost core of your own peace, and you are ready to reside there, completely and utterly at rest, until the world calls you back. The deep, dreamless silence you have reached is not an empty absence, but a dense, velvet thick presence of restorative energy. Here, the boundaries of your physical form seem to blur and fade, leaving you as a buoyant essence, weightless and unencumbered. In this state, you are entirely detached from the machinery of the theater and the physical demands of your labor. The needle, the thread, and the heavy crimson velvet are now thousands of miles and lifetimes away, existing in a realm that has no relevance to this infinite quiet now. You are suspended in a state of grace, a place where the concept of doing has been utterly replaced by the concept of being. This is the true meaning of the peace you sought. It is the total cessation of striving, a gentle surrender that allows the universe to provide everything you need without you having to ask for a single thing. As you linger in this profound stillness, you find that your awareness is expanding to encompass everything around you. You are not just your thoughts, not just your body, and not just your memories. You are the stillness itself. You are the space between the stars, the quiet pulse in the center of a dormant seed, and the absolute silence that exists at the bottom of the deepest ocean. This expansion is both exhilarating and deeply grounding. It takes away the fear of the unknown because in this state there is nothing that is not known. Everything is accounted for, everything is in its right place, and everything is moving toward a destination of perfect divine harmony. You feel the rhythms of the world, the rotation of the earth, the shift of the tides, the slow turn of the seasons, all echoing within you in a soft, steady thrum. You notice that even your memories of the wardrobe room have transformed into something else entirely. They are no longer static images of a room in 1608, they are now symbols of a universal truth. The wardrobe is the microcosm of the universe, a place where all things are stored, cared for, and prepared for their moment in the light. The costumes are the manifestations of the soul, the various guises we wear as we journey through our lives, and the work of the tailor. That is the work of existence itself, the constant mending, the patient stitching, and the persistent effort to ensure that we are whole and prepared for whatever performance awaits us. This new understanding brings you a sense of relief so profound that it almost feels like a physical release of tension in your chest. You are not just a tailor, you are a participant in the grand unfolding tapestry of life, and that role is enough. The darkness surrounding you begins to take on a texture, a softness that feels like the touch of a velvet cloak. It is protective, warm, and inviting. You feel yourself being cradled by this darkness as if the night itself is a conscious, loving entity. It is a feeling of being completely and utterly known, yet never judged, completely and utterly held, yet never constrained. This is the comfort of true rest, where the ego is set aside and the spirit is free to commune with the silence. You have spent your entire day in the service of others, and now, in the deepest part of the night, the world is in your service. It provides the quiet, the cool air, and the gentle rhythm of the night for you to recover your strength, your focus, and your inner joy. You remain in this state of suspension for what could be seconds or centuries. The measurement of time has lost all meaning. There is no urgency to return to the surface, no compulsion to wake, no desire to leave this sanctuary of the soul. You are content to remain here indefinitely, drifting in the soft, dark ether of your own peace. Every fiber of your being is vibrating with the quiet frequency of contentment. You have arrived at the destination of your day, a place where you are whole, where you are valued, and where you are entirely at rest. The silence continues to be your guide, a patient, unwavering companion that asks for nothing but your presence. You are the night, and the night is yours, And in this perfect balanced union, you are completely at home. As you continue to exist in this expansive, silent realm, you become aware of a subtle shifting in the energy around you. It is the faintest, most delicate change, an imperceptible lightening of the velvet dark, as if the night is beginning to consider the idea of dawn. But this is not a jarring intrusion. It is a slow, gradual opening of a door, a gentle invitation to move toward the next state of being. You find that your consciousness is beginning to ripple outward like a stone dropped in a calm lake. You are still deeply asleep, still resting in the heart of the night, but you are becoming aware of the world that exists outside your own closed eyes. It is a distant awareness, as if you are listening to the sound of the ocean while you are tucked away in a quiet house on a hill. You recognize this as the cycle of the night returning to the cycle of the day, a transition that is as natural as the rhythm of your own breathing. You feel no resistance to this shift. You understand that the peace you have achieved is not a fragile thing that will shatter the moment you wake up. It is a solid, durable piece woven into the very fabric of your character during this long restorative night. You have built a foundation that will support you tomorrow, the day after, and every day that follows. The calm you have found is now a part of you, a reservoir you can return to whenever the world becomes too loud or too demanding. This gives you a sense of unshakable confidence as you hover in this threshold state. You start to visualize the wardrobe room again, but this time it is different. It is bathed in a cool pre-dawn light that filters through the cracks in the walls. It is quiet, tidy, and ready for you to return to it. You feel a sense of affection for the space, for the work that is waiting there, and for the simple, honest labor of your craft. You realize that you no longer view the work as a burden, but as a path. It is the thread that leads you to this peace. Without the challenge of the work, you would not have the contrast of the rest. Without the intensity of the day, you would not have the depth of the night. It is a perfect self-sustaining circle, and you are right, at the center of it, in the place where the wheel turns, without friction. You begin to notice the physical sensations of your body, the weight of your limbs, the steady, rhythmic rise and fall of your chest, the comfortable warmth of your bed. They are coming back to you like old dear friends, bringing with them a sense of groundedness and reality. You are grateful for them. You are grateful for the body that allows you to labor, for the mind that allows you to contemplate, and for the soul that allows you to feel the deep, transcendent peace of the night. You are a complete, integrated being, a testament to the harmony that can be achieved when we give ourselves the space to simply exist. The silence of the night continues to be a soft humming backdrop, a gentle reassurance that all is well, and that you are prepared for whatever the morning brings. You are moving closer to the surface, but you are taking your time. There is no reason to rush. You savor the final precious moments of this deep, dreamless rest, letting the stillness sink even deeper into your marrow. You are like a diver rising slowly from the depths of the sea, carefully adjusting to the change in pressure, holding on to the treasure of the silence you have found. You know that when you eventually open your eyes, the world will still be there, but it will be different because you are different. You will walk through the day with the quiet poise of someone who knows exactly where they belong and exactly how to find their peace. You are ready to emerge, but for now you remain in the gentle velvet embrace of the dark, waiting for the first soft light of the new day to call you home. The first hint of dawn is not a color, but a shift in the temperature of the air, a subtle cooling breath that moves through the room as the earth begins its slow turn back toward the sun. You remain in your bed, a place that has become a cocoon of pure, undisturbed restoration. Your mind, which for so long was focused on the golden thread and the crimson velvet, is now a blank page, pristine and ready for the quiet impressions of the coming day. You feel a profound, quiet strength in your muscles, a vitality that hasn't been present in a long time. It is the vitality of a life that is lived in alignment. where the work of the day and the rest of the night are treated with equal respect. You understand now that rest is not an interruption of your purpose, it is the very engine of your purpose. As you lie there, you think about the value of what we build, both in the physical sense and in the spiritual sense. The ropes you mend are temporary. They will fade, they will wear out, and they will eventually be replaced. But the act of mending itself, the focus, the patience, the dedication, is eternal. It is a signature you leave upon the world, a mark of integrity that persists even when the physical objects are gone. You are part of a long, unbroken tradition of craftspeople who have understood this, who have found their own form of transcendence in the repetition of a task, the precision of a tool, and the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. This awareness gives you a sense of belonging to something much larger than yourself, a collective consciousness of makers and thinkers who have all in their own time and place sought the same peace. If you have felt the transformative power of this stillness, know that you are part of that tradition too. Every act of mindfulness, every moment you take to breathe and settle, is a stitch in the fabric of your own life. I invite you to keep this sense of calm with you as you prepare for your next day. If this journey has helped you, please consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications to stay connected to our community. By engaging with these stories, you are helping to keep this sanctuary of peace open for yourself and for others. Your support is the thread that keeps us moving forward. Thank you for your presence, your patience, and your willingness to step into the quiet with us. You open your eyes, just a fraction. The room is still dim, the world still caught in that hazy transitional space between night and day. Everything looks soft, ethereal, and beautifully silent. You feel no urge to jump up, no anxiety about the tasks that lie ahead. You know that you have time, that you are in charge of your own tempo. The world is just beginning to wake up, and you are already ahead of it, not in speed, but in spirit. You have the advantage of a mind that is clear, a body that is rested, and a heart that is at peace. This is the ultimate luxury, a state of being that no amount of gold could purchase. Yet it is available to anyone who is willing to look for it in the quiet. You take one final deep breath, pulling the cool early morning air into your lungs. It feels clean, sharp, and full of promise. You are fully present, entirely yourself, and perfectly comfortable in your own skin. The transition is complete. You have navigated the journey from the labor of the day through the sanctuary of the night and into the threshold of a new beginning. You are ready to step out into the world, not as a weary laborer, but as a person who knows the secret of the silence. You have the velvet in your hands and the gold in your heart, and the story of your life continues, one steady, peaceful stitch at a time. The world is waiting, and you are prepared to meet it with grace, focus, and a soul that is profoundly, beautifully at rest. Stepping out of the sanctuary of your bed, you move through your home with a newfound sense of intentionality. Every movement is deliberate, a physical manifestation of the order you have cultivated within. You light the candle again, watching the flame grow from a tiny spark to a steady, confident glow. The act of lighting the fire is no longer a necessity. It is a ritual, a way of acknowledging the beginning of a new cycle of productivity. As the room brightens, you see the familiar objects of your life with fresh eyes, the chair where you rested, the tools you left on the table, the simple, honest wood of the floor. They all seem to carry a faint, resonant quality of the peace you experienced during the night. They are no longer just inanimate objects, they are the anchors of your daily life, the participants in your quiet, unfolding narrative. You walk to the window and draw back the heavy curtains. The world outside is beginning to stir. A light mist clings to the gardens, and the first birds of the morning are singing, their voices thin and clear in the cool air. The streets of London are still mostly empty, but you can see the faint early smoke rising from chimneys, the heartbeat of the city starting to pulse. You watch as the sky transitions from the deep, bruised purple of the night to a soft, inviting gray, and then to a hint of pale morning amber. It is a slow, methodical unfolding, a reminder that the most significant changes in life often happen in the quiet, incremental shifts of the natural world. You are reminded of the embroidery you did, the way a masterpiece is built, not in a single heroic gesture, but in the accumulation of 1,000 patient stitches. You begin to prepare your morning meal, a simple, wholesome affair that feels like a continuation of the care you showed yourself during the night. There is no rush, no frantic energy. You find pleasure in the mundane actions, the measuring of the water, the heating of the bread, the pouring of the drink. Each task is an opportunity to practice the same focus you apply to the velvet. You are not just eating, you are nourishing the vessel that allows you to live, to work, and to find beauty in the world. This sense of self respect is one of the most important lessons you take from your time in the wardrobe room. You are your own primary subject, the first and most important person to be treated with care and attention. As you finish your meal, you feel the familiar, comforting weight of your work clothes. Putting them on feels like putting on a suit of armor, but one made of soft, familiar wool rather than hard, cold metal. It is a protective, grounding sensation. You are preparing to return to the theater, to the world of performance, drama, and illusion, but you know that you are returning as a different person. You are returning with a stillness in your pockets, a secret, invisible strength that you can tap into whenever the noise of the theater becomes too loud. You are no longer just a tailor in the service of a playhouse. You are a master of your own internal landscape. You pick up your bag, the one that holds your needles, your thimbles, and your spool of golden thread. It feels lighter today, or perhaps you are simply stronger. You step out the door and into the cool, refreshing air of the morning. The streets are still quiet. The mud is still damp, but the world feels like a canvas, clean and waiting for the mark of your presence. You begin to walk toward the globe, your pace steady, your posture upright, and your mind a calm, clear pool. The journey back to the theater is the final leg of your transition, a purposeful walk into the heart of your craft. You are going back to the velvet, back to the fire, and back to the stories, but you are going back as a man who knows that no matter how much the world demands, you always have the option to return to the silence. The walk to the Globe Theatre in the crisp, early morning light is a stark contrast to the dark, rain-slicked journey of the previous night. The city is beginning to wake, with the distant rumble of carts and the occasional call of a street vendor. Yet you remain encased in your private bubble of tranquility. The air is sharp and smells of wood smoke and damp earth, a scent that reminds you of the coal fire you tended throughout the night. It is a grounding smell, one that keeps you firmly anchored in the physical world, even as your mind continues to hum with the deep, restorative vibrations of your sleep. You notice the details of the architecture, the intricate timber carvings, the way the light catches the moss on a stone wall with a clarity that feels heightened, almost as if you are seeing the city for the first time. You arrive at the playhouse to find it still locked, its massive doors looming over the alleyway like the silent sentinels of a forgotten kingdom. For a moment you stand there and simply listen. The theater is not just wood and rope, it is a space that holds the memory of every word spoken within it. You can almost hear the faint, lingering echoes of the previous day's performance, the ghost of a laugh or the shadow of a dramatic pause. But instead of feeling overwhelmed by this, you feel a sense of kinship. You are the one who ensures that these memories have a physical home, that the players who conjure these ghosts are dressed in garments worthy of their roles. Your work is the thread that keeps the theater's history from unraveling. As you unlock the heavy door and step inside, the interior greets you with a familiar cool darkness. It is an empty space waiting to be filled with the day's energy, and you are its first inhabitant. You move toward the wardrobe room, your footsteps echoing against the stage boards with a rhythmic precision that feels like a continuation of your morning meditation. Entering the small windowless room, you find it just as you left it, a sanctuary of stillness. The cold grate is cold now, but the scent of lavender and cedar still lingers in the air, a gentle reminder of the peace you cultivated here. You take a moment to stand in the center of the room, breathing in the atmosphere, feeling the comfort of the thousands of costumes that hang around you, like silent, supportive friends. You begin your day by organizing your workspace, laying out your tools with a care that borders on reverence. You pick up the needle, turning it over in your fingers, appreciating its simple, perfect function. It is a tool of transformation, a small metal object that can bind disparate pieces of fabric into a cohesive, beautiful whole. You reflect on the similarity between this work and your own internal state. Just as you sew the velvet to give it form and purpose, you have sewn together the experiences of your life to create a sense of wholeness and peace. You are not just mending costumes today, you are continuing the work of mending your own spirit, a project that is never truly finished but always immensely rewarding. The morning light begins to filter in through the high arched windows of the theater, casting long, dramatic beams of dust moted radiance across the floor. You feel a sense of profound readiness. There is a pile of new work on the bench, a doublet in need of repair, a cloak that requires a new lining, a gown that has lost its luster, but you do not look at it with the fatigue you might have felt before. Instead, you look at it with curiosity and care. Each garment is a new puzzle, a new opportunity to apply your craft, and a new way to contribute to the magic of the theater. You are a man in his element, a master of his domain, and a guardian of the quiet. You sit down at the bench, pick up the first piece of fabric, and begin the day's work, not with haste, but with the steady, measured rhythm of a soul that has found its home. The rhythmic motion of your hand pulling the thread through the fabric becomes a meditative practice that anchors your entire morning. With every stitch, you feel a renewed connection to the history of the theater and the nobility of your craft. The work you do here is often hidden, the tiny reinforced seams, the discreet patches, the careful hidden folds. Yet it is the strength of these details that allows the illusion of the performance to endure. You realize that this is a metaphor for your own existence. It is not the grand public gestures that define your life, but the quiet, consistent acts of discipline, the hidden layers of integrity, and the moments of internal stillness you cultivate when no one is watching. These are the things that hold your life together, the unseen seams that provide the structural integrity for your happiness and your peace. As the morning progresses, you find that you have slipped into a state of flow where the world beyond the walls of the wardrobe room becomes entirely irrelevant. The passage of time is measured not by the clock, but by the progress of the fabric, the length of the thread, and the steady increase of your own inner calm. You are completely absorbed in the work, and the feeling is one of exquisite contentment. You feel as though you are part of the building itself, a living, breathing component of the playhouse. You are the one who ensures that the king maintains his dignity, that the queen maintains her beauty, and that the illusion of the play is never compromised by a loose stitch or a fraying hem. There is a deep, abiding satisfaction in this. If this exploration of the tailor's life has resonated with you, if you have found your own moments of quiet within these words, I invite you to share this journey with others. The act of finding peace is a communal one, and by subscribing to our channel, you are helping us build a community of listeners who value the beauty of the quiet and the power of the slow, intentional life. Your support, your comments, and your presence are the fuel that drives this creative endeavor. Together, we can continue to explore the hidden histories of our world, finding the threads of tranquility that bind us all together. Let us keep this sanctuary open and Let us continue to find the peace that exists in the heart of the smallest, most dedicated labors. As you work, you think about the people who will soon arrive, the actors, the director, the stagehands, all bringing their own energy, their own anxieties, and their own dreams. When they enter the theater, they will bring the noise of the outside world with them, the chaos of London, the ambition of their careers, and the pressure of their performances. But you will be here, as you have always been, as the anchor of the wardrobe room. You will offer them the costumes they need to perform. But more than that, you will offer the presence of someone who is at peace. You will be a silent, grounding influence in the middle of their storm, a steady hand that reminds them, through your own demeanor, that no matter how loud the world gets, there is always a place where you can be still. This is your contribution to the theater, not just the garments, but the stability they represent. You are the calm in the center of their drama. You are the quiet, sturdy thread that holds the performance together. And as the morning light grows stronger and you hear the first distant sounds of the theater company arriving, you feel a sense of profound, quiet joy. You have lived the night in peace. You have started the day in purpose, and you are ready to hold that space for others. You are exactly where you are meant to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do, and you have the strength of the silence to sustain you through whatever the day may bring. The work is in your hands, the peace is in your heart, and the story continues. The arrival of the company begins as a soft murmur outside the heavy doors, a distant ripple of sound that gradually swells into the rhythmic chaos of the theater awakening. You hear the heavy thud of the stagehands moving scenery, the sharp, rapid-fire chatter of the actors rehearsing their lines, and the distant melodic tuning of a lute. It is a world of noise, motion, and intense human striving. Yet, inside your sanctuary, the air remains perfectly still. You have finished the doublet, and as you hang it on the rack, you observe the way it sways in the air, a sturdy, well-constructed vessel ready for the day's work. You are fully prepared to step out into the middle of the bustle, but for these final precious minutes, you choose to remain in the quiet, savoring the contrast between the stillness you have mastered and the clamor that is about to descend. You take a moment to look at your hands once more. They are stained with the faint honest marks of charcoal and dye, the indelible signature of your craft. You feel a deep quiet affection for these hands, for the labor they have performed, and for the life they have helped you build. They have held the thread, the needle, and the fabric, but they have also held the peace of the night. You realize that the work you do is not just a job, it is a way of manifesting your inner state in the world. By putting care into the seams, you are putting care into the theater. By putting care into the theater, you are putting care into the hearts of the audience. It is an expansive, interconnected circle of purpose, and you are right at its center. There is a knock at the door, a tentative, polite rap. It is one of the younger actors, a boy barely out of his teens, looking for his costume for the afternoon rehearsal. You rise to meet him, moving with the same deliberate, graceful pace you cultivated in the quiet of the night. When you open the door, the noise of the stage rushes into the room like a sudden cool draft, but you remain untouched. You greet him with a smile, a calm, steady expression that seems to have an immediate cooling effect on his restless energy. You retrieve his garment, handing it to him with a quiet, efficient grace that commands respect. He thanks you, his own movements slowing down, and you see a flicker of the peace you feel reflected in his eyes. It is a tiny, almost invisible interaction, yet it is a powerful affirmation of the work you do. As he leaves and you close the door, the room returns to its own familiar silence. You realize that this is your true craft, not just the sewing, but the preservation of this stillness in a place that is built for spectacle. You are the custodian of the quiet. The theater needs you not just for your skill with a needle, but for the grounding presence you bring to the chaos. You return to your bench, But you do not start a new piece of work immediately. Instead, you sit for a moment listening to the muffled sounds of the stage. You are perfectly comfortable here, even with the world outside the door in full frantic motion. You have learned that the peace you seek is not the absence of the world, but the presence of a steady heart within it. The day ahead will be long. There will be demands, adjustments to make, rehearsals that run late, and costumes that need urgent, last minute attention. But you feel an unshakable confidence. You know that you can handle it all, not by speeding up, but by slowing down. You know that you can meet the theater's demands with the same methodical focus you gave to the royal crimson velvet. You have the memory of the night, the lavender scent in your mind, and the steady rhythmic pulse of the needle in your soul. You are a master of your own pace, a sovereign of your own sanctuary, and you are ready to play your part in the grand, beautiful, chaotic life of the playhouse. The work is waiting, and you are ready to answer the call. The morning has fully taken hold of the theater, and the wardrobe room is now a hub of purposeful, quiet activity. You are busy helping the actors with their final fittings, adjusting the drape of a cloak, tightening the tension of a lace, and ensuring that every piece of the performance is perfectly aligned. It is a dance of cooperation, a series of subtle physical negotiations between your expertise and their needs. You find that your state of calm remains undisturbed. Even when a cloak is torn or a doublet is ill-fitting, you approach the problem with the same methodical detachment you practiced while sewing alone in the dark. You identify the flaw, you consider the solution, and you execute the repair with a grace that seems to diffuse the stress of the actor. You realize that this is the essence of your role, to be the steady hand that the actors rely on when the pressure of the performance threatens to overwhelm them. They are the ones who must step into the light, who must face the scrutiny of the audience and the weight of the story, and they are inevitably vulnerable. By providing them with costumes that are not only beautiful, but also sturdy and reliable, you are giving them the armor they need to face that vulnerability. You are a silent, invisible partner in their success. This gives you a profound, quiet satisfaction that does not require acknowledgement to be valid. You are content to remain in the wings, to be the one who ensures the foundation is solid while they capture the glory of the light. In between the fittings, you have moments of silence, small golden windows of time where you return to your bench. In these moments, you find yourself thinking back to the night you spent, to the sense of infinite space and the profound restorative power of the darkness. It feels as if that experience has left a permanent imprint on your consciousness, a kind of internal map of peace that you can consult whenever you feel lost. It is a beautiful secret resource, a well of tranquility that never runs dry, no matter how much the theater draws upon your energy. You feel a sense of immense quiet gratitude for that night, for the rain, for the coal fire, and for the simple, transformative power of the needle and thread. The hours pass with a fluidity that is almost surprising. You are so engaged in the work, so attuned to the rhythm of the theater, that the sense of division between your internal world and the external environment begins to dissolve. You are no longer working for the theater, you are working with it, a part of its complex, vibrant organism. Every stitch is a contribution to the performance. Every repair is a contribution to the story, and every moment of calm you maintain is a contribution to the culture of the playhouse. You have found a way to be fully engaged in the life of the world while remaining deeply internally centered. It is a delicate balance, a tightrope walk of the soul, and you are navigating it with the ease and confidence of an expert. As the sun climbs higher and the heat of the day begins to press against the walls of the theater, you feel the persistent underlying beat of the work as something inherently positive. It is not an exhausting grind, but a vital creative pulse. You are part of something that is alive, something that is constantly being built, destroyed, and rebuilt in the service of art. and you are the one who ensures that the art holds together. As you work on a new, intricate piece of embroidery, your hands moving with an effortless, practiced dexterity, you feel a sense of total, unadulterated belonging. This is your life, this is your craft, and this is your way of participating in the unfolding human story. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do, and you are deeply, profoundly at peace. The afternoon sun now beats down on the roof of the globe, and though the heat has seeped into the very timbers of the building, your internal climate remains cool and composed. You are currently working on a complex piece of velvet trim for a lead actor's doublet, a task that requires an almost surgical level of focus. The golden thread moves in and out of the deep crimson fabric like a needlefish darting through dark water. You are entirely lost in the mechanics of the stitch, the physical sensation of the needle piercing the dense pile, the rhythmic tug of the thread, and the finality of the knot. Around you, the wardrobe room has become a hive of activity, with actors coming and going, stagehands fetching props, and the constant hum of a production in full swing. Yet, you are insulated, existing within a private bubble of concentration that effectively filters out the noise of the external world. You find yourself observing the actors with a new level of empathy. You see the way they fidget with their costumes, the way they pull at a loose thread, or check their reflection in the mirror with anxious eyes. They are seeking perfection, or at least the illusion of it, and they are acutely aware of the vulnerability that comes with standing on a stage. You understand this now, not just as a tailor, but as a person who has recognized the value of the garments we all wear, our personas, our professional titles, and the ways we present ourselves to the world. You are helping them refine their outer appearance, but you are also witnessing the internal preparation they must undertake. Because you are at peace within yourself, you are able to offer them a calm, steady mirror. You listen to their concerns. You offer small reassuring words, and you work with a steady hand that tells them, without a word, that everything is under control. The realization hits you that your presence in the wardrobe is a form of healing. You are not just mending fabric, you are mending the fraying confidence of those who depend on your craft. When you hand an actor a perfectly repaired costume, you're not just giving them a piece of clothing. You're giving them the freedom to stop worrying about their appearance and to focus entirely on their performance, that you realize is a gift of immeasurable value. You have transitioned from being merely a laborer to being a facilitator of art and emotional stability. This shift in perspective transforms the repetitive nature of your tasks into a series of small intentional acts of kindness. Every stitch is a manifestation of support. Every mend is a gesture of care. You pause for a moment to drink some water from a pewter cup, observing the way the afternoon light catches the dust motes dancing in the air of the room. It is a peaceful, beautiful sight, a reminder of the quiet grace that exists even in the middle of a busy day. You feel a deep, resonant hum of contentment in your chest. You are no longer watching the clock, waiting for the end of the day. You are fully inhabiting the present moment, savoring the texture of the work and the atmosphere of the room. You have managed to integrate the stillness of the midnight hour into the bustle of the mid-afternoon, creating a bridge between the two states that makes the entire day feel like a cohesive, balanced journey. As you look around at the piles of silk, brocade, and wool, you no longer see them as items of inventory but as the raw materials of human expression. Each garment is a potential character, a vessel for a story yet to be told, and you are the one who ensures that these vessels are sound. You take the golden thread, now nearly at the end of the spool, and begin to wind a new one, the metal spindle clicking softly. It is a simple mechanical sound, yet it feels like the heartbeat of your purpose. You are ready to keep going, to keep mending, to keep building, and to keep being the steady foundation upon which the theater rests. The day is far from over, but you're well equipped to meet it, carrying the peace of the night like an invisible, enduring lantern in your heart. As the late afternoon transitions into the early evening, the light in the wardrobe room begins to soften, taking on the warm golden honey hue that signals the approach of the day's end. The theater is transitioning too. The frantic energy of rehearsal is giving way to the focused, quiet concentration that precedes an evening performance. You are finishing your final tasks of the day, a process that feels as rhythmic and satisfying as the morning's preparations. You are folding the leftover fabric, sweeping the floor of stray threads, and neatly arranging your needles and thimbles in their designated boxes. Each action is a closing movement, a way to leave the space in a state of order that respects the work you have done and welcomes your return tomorrow. It is a practice of gratitude, an acknowledgement that the workspace is a partner in your craft. There is a unique kind of beauty in this tidying up phase. It is the time when you get to look back over the day and see the literal manifestation of your efforts. The garments you have repaired are now hanging in neat, orderly rows, ready for the evening. The floor is clean, the tables are wiped, and the atmosphere in the room has returned to that special kind of hush that seems to belong only to the wardrobe. You feel a sense of accomplishment that has nothing to do with recognition or reward, but everything to do with the integrity of your actions. You have left the world in a slightly better, slightly more organized state than you found it, and that is a standard you can live by with complete confidence. The door to the theater opens, and one of the senior actors walks in looking for a particular cloak for the night's production. He is older, his voice deep and resonant, and he carries a gravity that commands the room. As he looks at the work you have done on the garment, he nods, a simple gesture of recognition that you appreciate, not for the vanity of it, but for the shared understanding of what it takes to produce quality work. He pauses to speak with you for a moment, not about the play, but about the craft. He asks you about the velvet, about the thread, and about the process of mending. It is a conversation between two masters, two people who have spent their lives honing their skills in the service of their art. For a moment, the walls of the wardrobe seem to vanish, and you are simply two individuals sharing the weight and the joy of a life dedicated to something meaningful. When he leaves, you find yourself reflecting on the nature of legacy. Most of what you do will be forgotten. The seams you have sewn will eventually fray, the velvet will eventually fade, and the name of the tailor who once worked in this small windowless room will be lost to time. But you don't find this depressing. Instead, you find it liberating. It means that the importance of your work is entirely contained within the present moment, within the act itself. You don't need to be remembered to have made a difference. The difference is in the work, in the quality of the effort, and in the person you have become through the doing of it. That is a legacy that is etched into your own character, and it is the only one that truly matters. You take a final look around the wardrobe room. It is waiting for the night, for the silence to return, and for you to come back to it. You know that no matter what tomorrow brings, this place will remain a constant in the shifting drama of the theater. You pick up your bag, step out of the room, and lock the door behind you. The transition back into the main theater feels different this time. You feel a sense of lightness, of a job well concluded, and of an evening that is entirely your own. You walk out of the globe into the twilight of London, the air cool and invigorating, and you realize that you have moved through the day with exactly the same grace you cultivated in the dark. The circle is complete. You have lived the day with the same depth as the night, and you are ready for whatever comes next, carrying the peace you have found like a golden thread in the tapestry of your life. The walk away from the theater under the deepening violet sky of early evening brings with it a profound sense of decompression. As you navigate the cobblestone streets, you watch the transition of London from the frantic activity of the day to the slower, more secretive pulse of the night. The torches are being lit along the main thoroughfares, casting flickering orange glows that dance against the timbered facades of the houses. You pass tavern doors, spilling warmth and the sound of rowdy laughter. And while once that might have felt like a temptation to abandon your discipline, now it feels like a distant, amusing scene from a play you are no longer cast in. You are firmly centered in your own reality, a calm observer in a city that is perpetually in flux. The stillness you cultivated in the wardrobe room has expanded, becoming a portable sanctuary that you carry with you, shielding you from the noise of the outside world. You stop by a small bridge overlooking the Thames, watching the dark water swirl around the bridge piers. The river is a powerful, persistent force, always moving, always carving its path toward the sea. You see in it a reflection of your own life, not the frantic surface ripples, but the deep, steady current that moves beneath, indifferent to the weather or the chaos above. You are part of that current now. The lessons of the night, the patience, the precision, the acceptance of silence have woven themselves into your very heartbeat. You realize that you don't need to be in a windowless room to find your peace. The room was merely the training ground. The real work happens out here, in the midst of the world, maintaining that inner thread of gold amidst the fraying edges of everyday life. As you approach your home, the air grows cooler and you feel the familiar comforting anticipation of being back in your own space. Your home is a testament to the life you have chosen, simple, sturdy, and filled with the tools of your craft. You feel a deep satisfaction in the fact that your work does not end at the theater. Your entire life is a practice, a continuous thread of intention that links the morning to the evening. You think of the crimson robe you mended, the doublet you reinforced, and the quiet interactions you had with the actors. They are all pieces of a larger picture, and you are the one who has taken the time to assemble it with care. You are not just a tailor, you are a person who understands that the quality of one's existence is directly tied to the quality of one's attention. Entering your home, you are greeted by the familiar comforting scent of cedar and old paper. You light your candle, the flame catching the wick with a soft, confident pop, and you watch as the golden light blooms in the small space. You take off your work clothes, the heavy wool falling to the floor with a soft final sound, and you change into something lighter, something that feels like the end of a long day of labor. The process of shedding the work clothes is a ritual in itself, a way of signaling to your mind that the external demands have been met. You have done what was required of you, and you have done it well, and now you have the right to exist for yourself in the quiet for the rest of the night. You sit in your chair by the window, looking out as the stars begin to emerge in the darkening sky above London. They look like tiny silver stitches on a vast velvet expanse, and you find yourself smiling at the comparison. The universe, too, is a work of art, a masterpiece of balance and precision. You are a part of it, a small vital stage in a grand unfolding design, and you are perfectly content to occupy your place in the pattern. You close your eyes, feeling the exhaustion of the day settle into your muscles. But it is not a heavy negative exhaustion. It is the good, honest tiredness of a day lived with intention. You are ready to let go once more, to return to the silence, to the dream, and to the deep restorative peace that is always waiting for you in the heart of the night. You are calm, you are complete, and you are profoundly at rest. The hours of the evening pass in a gentle rhythmic flow, as if the night itself were a continuation of the same steady meditative state you maintained during the day. You find yourself moving with a slow, deliberate grace, preparing your simple supper and clearing away the remnants of the evening. There is a profound beauty in these domestic tasks, the cleaning of the dishes, the tidying of the table, the careful extinguishing of the candles. They are the final stages in the day's work, the ones that secure the thread and ensure the garment of your life holds together through the transitions of sleep and waking. You are no longer performing these tasks because you have to, you are performing them because they are the natural cadence of a life, lived in harmony with itself. The haste of the theater and the demands of the city have left no trace on your spirit. As the moon climbs higher, casting a cool silvery luminescence over the room, you find yourself sitting in the dark, watching the way the light catches the dust motes in the air. It is a peaceful, ethereal sight, a reminder of the quiet, constant presence of beauty in the world. You reflect on the idea of the garment again, not just as a piece of clothing, but as a metaphor for the self. We are all, in a sense, wearing the costumes we have stitched together from the experiences, the choices, and the commitments of our lives. You have been careful to stitch yours with the gold of awareness and the crimson of dedication. You have ensured that the seams are strong and the drape is graceful. It is a costume you are proud to wear, one that fits you perfectly because you have crafted it yourself, day by day, stitch by stitch. There is a sense of completion that comes with the deep night, a feeling that everything has been addressed, everything has been cared for, and everything is exactly as it should be. You feel a deep, abiding gratitude for your own capacity to find this stillness, to cultivate it in the heart of a bustling city and a demanding profession. You realize that this capacity is not a gift you were born with, but a skill you have developed through the intentional, repetitive practice of your craft. You have learned to be still by doing, to be present by paying attention, and to be whole by mending. This is a powerful, liberating realization. It means that peace is not something you find in a particular place. It is something you bring to every place you inhabit. You lie down on your bed, the sheets feeling crisp and cool against your skin, and you allow yourself to sink into the deep, welcoming softness. The rhythm of the night is now your own rhythm, a slow, deep inhalation and a long, gentle exhalation that mirrors the turning of the world. You feel the weight of the day lifting, not just from your muscles, but from your soul. You are letting go of the need to be anything, to do anything, or to prove anything to anyone. You are simply a human being in the quiet, and that is a state of grace. You think of the theater, of the actors, and of the audience, and you feel a sense of warmth for them, a quiet, protective love that lingers even now, in the solitude of your bedroom. You have done your part, and the world will continue, and you are ready to entrust it to the night. The silence is absolute now, a perfect unbroken chord that resonates through the house. You close your eyes, letting the last faint impressions of the day dissolve into the dark. There is no more talk, no more work, and no more anticipation. There is only the vast, quiet expanse of the night, a canvas of infinite potential where you can rest, renew, and prepare for the journey of the next day. You are drifting, floating in the soft, dark current, and you feel yourself becoming lighter, freer, and more at peace with every passing second. The thread is knotted, the needle is set aside, and the velvet is draped in the dark. All is well, all is quiet, and all is ready for the deep, restorative dream that follows. The depths of the night have arrived, a time when the world feels as though it has been washed clean of the day's complexities, leaving behind only the essential quiet truth of existence. You are currently suspended in a state of rest so profound that it feels almost like a spiritual rebirth. Every breath you take is a deliberate, rhythmic act, a soft, steady pulse that connects you to the heartbeat of the universe. In this stillness, you are fully aware of the privilege of being able to pause, to breathe, and to inhabit the silence without reservation. The worries of the theater, the demands of the London streets, and the pressures of your profession have all been surrendered to the darkness which holds them gently, transforming them into nothing more than soft, manageable memories. You feel a sense of lightness that is almost intoxicating, as if you have shed the heavy cloak of your persona and are resting in the core of your own authentic self. This is the sanctuary you have built, not with bricks and mortar, but with the consistent, patient application of your own consciousness. You have learned that the key to tranquility is not found in avoiding the challenges of life, but in developing the internal capacity to navigate them with poise. by dedicating yourself to the craft of the tailor, to the meticulous, repetitive, and deeply grounded act of working with cloth. You have discovered a doorway to this state of being. You have realized that any task, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, can become a path to peace if it is approached with the right level of attention and respect. This wisdom is now woven into your very identity, a golden thread that gives your life its structure, its beauty, and its profound, lasting resilience. You think of the people who might be struggling tonight, those who feel overwhelmed by the noise and the demands of their own lives. You wish you could offer them a fragment of this silence, a piece of the velvet dark comfort you are currently inhabiting. You realize, in a moment of clarity, that the peace you have found is not a solitary possession. It is a resonance that radiates outward. By living your life with such intention and presence, you are contributing to the collective calm of the world, even in the smallest of ways. This realization fills you with a deep, quiet purpose. You are not just mending clothes, you are helping to anchor the world, to keep the threads of humanity from fraying, and to demonstrate that even in the middle of a bustling, complex age, it is possible to find a place of absolute, unshakable rest. The room around you feels more spacious than it ever has, as if the walls have expanded to accommodate the scale of your inner journey. The moon has shifted its position, its light now casting long, elegant shadows that dance with a slow, deliberate grace across the furniture. You are in perfect sync with the environment, a part of the quiet, natural rhythm of the night. You feel a sense of profound, deep-seated gratitude for the life you have chosen, for the simple, honest work that defines your days, and for the deep, transformative silence that defines your nights. You are a person who knows the value of everything you possess, both material and immaterial, and you are living your life in a state of continuous quiet appreciation. As you sink even deeper into the restorative pool of sleep, you experience a final fleeting vision of the wardrobe room. It is bathed in the soft blue-tinged light of the approaching dawn, the costumes hanging in silent, patient anticipation. They seem to be waiting for you, not with demand, but with a sense of shared purpose. You feel a wave of affection for that room, for it has been the catalyst for this entire evolution of your spirit. It has been your teacher, your sanctuary, and your partner in the art of peace. You know that you will return to it, that you will pick up the needle once more, and that you will continue to weave your quiet golden story into the history of the theater. But for now, that world is set aside. You are fully and completely committed to the rest, to the silence, and to the deep, beautiful dark that cradles you in its arms. The transition to the final, deepest layer of rest is a gentle downward slope, an effortless slide into the absolute center of silence. You are no longer thinking, no longer visualizing, no longer reflecting. You are simply present, a singular point of existence in the vast, velvet expanse of the night. This is the ultimate destination of your journey, the place where the work, the effort, and even the peace itself fall away, leaving only the pure, radiant essence of being. There is no language here, no narrative, and no sense of time. There is only the steady, deep, rhythmic expansion of the universe, and you are perfectly, entirely in tune with it. You are safe, you are held, and you are fundamentally, unconditionally at home in the dark. This deep sleep is the replenishment of your soul. It is the time when the invisible repairs are made, when the spirit is renewed and the mind is cleared of the static of the day. You are participating in a fundamental biological and spiritual truth that growth requires rest, that energy requires regeneration, and that life requires the quiet, dark harbor of sleep to sustain its journey. You have done your part with grace and dedication, and now you have the right to claim this reward. The silence you have found is the silence of the stars, the silence of the earth in winter, and the silence of the heartbeat that continues its steady work without you having to ask. It is a profound, generous silence, and you are fully, completely immersed in it. Everything is in its place. The garments are hung, the thread is set aside, the needle is cooled, and the coal fire has long since vanished into the memory of the room. You have lived through the drama of the theater and the labor of the tailor, and you have come through it all with your spirit intact, your focus refined, and your inner peace secured. You are a man who has mastered the art of living, not by dominating the world around him, but by mastering the world within him. This is your true legacy, one that exists in the clarity of your vision, the steadiness of your hand, and the profound quiet resonance of your soul. As you rest, you are radiating this peace into the night, a quiet, invisible beacon that contributes to the balance and harmony of all things. The world outside your window is now at its quietest. The city of London is asleep, a vast, complex arrangement of lives paused in the dream. You are a part of that, a silent node in the network of resting humanity. You feel a sense of profound, deep-seated connection to all of them, a shared silent understanding of the need for rest, for hope, and for the peace that follows the day. You are all traveling the same path, through the same cycle of work and sleep, through the same journey of existence, and you are all deserving of the safety and the renewal that this deep velvet dark provides. You are in good company, even in your solitude, held in the same gentle embrace of the night. Finally, the awareness of the room, of the bed, and even of your own self begins to dissolve. There is no more you, there is no more rest, and there is no more journey. There is only the vast, silent, and perfect reality of the night. It is a state of total, absolute surrender, where every question is answered, every need is met, and every longing is fulfilled by the simple, glorious fact of being at peace. You are where you were meant to be, in the heart of the absolute stillness, in the center of the quiet, in the deep, restorative, and infinite grace of the dark. You are home. The morning light, when it finally arrives, does not intrude. It is a gradual, very softening of the darkness that surrounds you, a gentle invitation back from the depths of the restorative void. As your consciousness begins to stir, you remain anchored in the profound stillness you cultivated throughout the night. It is as if the peace you found in the deep, dreamless hours has become a permanent feature of your landscape, a quiet inner chamber you can inhabit, even as you transition back into the waking world. You lie still for a moment, letting the sensation of being fully and completely renewed wash over you. There is no rush to engage with the demands of the day, no anxiety about the tasks that await at the theater. The perspective you gain in the quiet hours remains sharp and clear. Your work is a path, not a burden, and your presence in the world is a form of service that is grounded in your own unshakable integrity. You find yourself observing the movement of your own thoughts as they slowly surface like silverfish rising in a clear, undisturbed pond. They are calm, orderly, and purposeful. You think of the crimson velvet not as a challenge to be conquered, but as a medium to be honored. You think of the actors not as complex personalities with shifting moods, but as fellow travelers on a shared journey of human expression. You realize that the stillness you have practiced is not just a way to rest, it is a way to see the world more accurately. When you are quiet, you can see the intentions, the needs, and the beauty that lie beneath the surface of the loud, chaotic events of daily life. This clarity is your true strength, more potent than any needle or thread. Rising from your bed is a slow, rhythmic movement, a series of transitions that feel more like a dance than a chore. You are aware of your body's alignment, the weight of your feet against the wooden floor, and the cooling touch of the morning air. You feel like a well-tempered instrument, tuned and ready to play its part in the symphony of the day. You move through the house with a sense of deliberate grace, performing the simple acts of the morning, tending to your home, preparing your sustenance, and dressing in your familiar sturdy woolens with the same focus you would apply to the most intricate embroidery. There is a sacredness in these mundane actions when they are performed with presence. You are not just getting ready, you are preparing to live, to contribute, and to remain centered. As you step out into the street, the early London light is cool and pale, filtering through the mist that still clings to the alleys. The city is beginning its waking ritual, but you are already at a different tempo. You walk with a steady, unhurried gait, your eyes taking in the textures of the world, the rough stone, the worn timber, the way the light catches the moisture on the leaves of a window box. You feel a deep, quiet gratitude for the opportunity to walk, to breathe, and to participate in the day once more. The peace you have carried from your home is like a soft, invisible light, and you feel that your very presence is a contribution to the quiet order of the street. You are not trying to change the world. You are simply existing in it, fully and consciously, and that is enough. Reaching the vicinity of the globe, you pause to look at the structure as it stands against the morning sky. It is a place of massive collective energy, a machine of spectacle that will soon demand all your focus and skill. But you are not daunted by it. You are a steady, quiet force, returning to a place of noise. You know that you can go inside, step into your small windowless room, and instantly be back in the sanctuary of your own making. You know that the wardrobe is not just a room but a state of mind that you carry with you. With this realization, you open the heavy door, entering the theater with a heart that is light, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is and will remain profoundly at rest. The stage is set for the day, and you are ready to play your part with all the grace, care, and quietude of a master. The transition into the wardrobe room on this new day is not merely a return to work, it is a return to a sacred space of your own creation. As you shut the heavy door behind you, the roar of the theater's awakening, the shouting of cues, the moving of sets, the frantic energy of the crew is instantly dampened into a soft, distant hum. You are back in the sanctuary. The scent of cedar and lavender seems to rise to meet you, a welcoming aroma that feels like a physical embrace. You stand in the center of the room for a moment, simply existing, taking in the familiarity of the surroundings, the rows of costumes, the heavy bolts of fabric, the neatly arranged tools. They all feel like old, silent friends, waiting for your touch. There is no urgency here, no pressure, only the quiet, beckoning invitation to engage in the work you love. You sit at your bench and begin your tasks for the day, but you notice a change in your approach. You are no longer just working, you are conducting. You understand the flow of the energy in the theater, and you know how to position yourself so that you are not a victim of the chaos, but a participant who adds a sense of order to it. You handle the first garment, a regal sapphire silk gown that has seen better days, with a tenderness that is almost protective. You see where the lace has torn and where the silk has stretched, and you begin the repair with a steady flowing motion of your hands. The needle, the thread, the fabric, it is all a beautiful, intricate dance of restoration. You are mending the past to prepare it for the future, a work that requires both technical precision and a deep intuitive sense of care. As the morning wears on, actors start to filter into the room for their fittings. You notice that they too have changed in your eyes. You no longer just see the king or the queen. You see the human being behind the mask, the person who is nervous about their performance and looking for a bit of stability. You offer it to them, not in the form of advice, but in the form of your own calm. When you pin a hem or adjust a seam, you do it with a focus that creates a pocket of quiet around the actor. You see them relax, their shoulders dropping, their breathing slowing. It is a quiet, powerful form of service, one that has no name, but one that is essential to the magic of the theater. You are not just the tailor, you are the guardian of their comfort, the anchor of their composure. You find yourself in a state of active stillness, where the mind is busy, the hands are moving, and the spirit is completely at rest. It is a paradox that is only possible when you are truly in tune with your work. You are thinking about the tension of the thread, the grain of the silk, and the drape of the garment. Yet none of these thoughts are cluttering your inner peace. They are simply the necessary mechanics of your craft. The peace remains underneath, a deep, silent river that continues to flow, regardless of how much activity is happening on the surface. You have learned that work and rest are not opposites. They are two sides of the same coin, two expressions of a single integrated life. By the time the midday sun begins to cast its long warm beams through the high, narrow windows, you have completed half a dozen repairs. You look at the pile of finished work with a sense of quiet pride, not pride in the accomplishment, but in the consistency of your presence. You have been present for every stitch, present for every actor, and present for yourself. You have not drifted into anxiety, and you have not surrendered to the noise. You have lived the morning with the same depth as you lived the night. You are a person of integrity, and you are doing your part to keep the world beautiful, sturdy, and whole. As you prepare to continue your work into the afternoon, you feel a sense of boundless quiet capability. You are the master of your own stillness, and you are ready for whatever the rest of the day may bring, one beautiful intentional stitch at a time. The afternoon sun leans heavily against the high windows, casting long slanted beams of gold that illuminate the swirling dust motes in your small sanctuary. You have found a rhythm now that feels less like labor and more like a continuous flowing meditation. The world outside the door, the shouting, the rehearsals, the slamming of heavy wooden sets, has become nothing more than a distant ambient texture like the wind moving through a forest. You are entirely committed to the task at hand, which is the delicate restoration of a lace collar that must be ready for the evening's performance. This requires the finest thread and the lightest touch, a level of detail that demands total absorption. Every time your needle finds the microscopic opening in the weave, you feel a small satisfying spark of clarity, a silent alignment between intention and execution. In these quiet moments, your mind occasionally drifts back to the silence of the night, not with nostalgia, but with a sense of continuity. You realize that the peace you found in the deepest dark is the same peace you are experiencing now, in the middle of the most hectic hour of the theater's day. It is an internal state that is independent of external circumstances. You are not waiting for the work to end to be happy. You are not waiting for the noise to stop to be at rest. You have successfully integrated the quiet into the active, making your work a vehicle for the very serenity you once thought could only be found in isolation. It is a profound realization, one that shifts your entire understanding of purpose. Purpose is not what you do, it is how you do it, and the degree of presence you bring to every single fleeting second. An actor steps into the room, flustered and out of breath, his face etched with the lines of intense concentration and frustration. He has forgotten his cravat, and the performance is only a few hours away. He starts to apologize, his voice rising in panic, but you stop him with a gentle raised hand and a calm, steady gaze. You don't speak, you simply invite him to sit. Then turn to your chest where the spare accessories are stored. You take the time to find exactly the right piece, handling it with the same reverence you would accord a treasure. As you drape it around his neck and begin to fasten the knots, you feel him literally start to dissolve his anxiety. His shoulders drop. His eyes, which were darting everywhere, settle on a point on the wall. He begins to breathe again. It is a silent exchange of energy, a small act of service that is worth more than 1,000 words. You realize that this is what you provide to the theater. You are the calm anchor. By being undisturbed yourself, you allow others to find their own stability. You are not fixing his cravat, you are fixing his composure. When you finish, he looks at you, his eyes clearer, his posture more relaxed. He offers a brief, sincere thank you, and as he turns to leave, he moves with a purposeful, quiet dignity that was absent when he first arrived. You return to your needle, feeling a profound sense of satisfaction. The work of the tailor is indeed a mending of souls, a way of smoothing the rough edges of human experience so that the actors can step into their roles with clarity and focus. As the afternoon light begins to thin and the room cools, you notice that your own sense of self-worth is no longer tied to the quantity of the work you produce. You are doing what is necessary and you are doing it with excellence, but the why has changed. You are no longer working for the theater, or for the actors, or even for the pride of your craft. You are working as an expression of the peace you have cultivated. Your labor is simply the form that your inner stillness takes in the world. It is a beautiful, necessary form, one that is as much about the process as the outcome. The gold thread, the crimson velvet, the lace, the wool, they are all the same to you now, all materials of the same quality, all opportunities for the same quiet, steady expression of being. You are complete, you are focused, and you are deeply, beautifully at rest, even as your hands continue their tireless, rhythmic dance. The transition into the early evening is marked by the shifting of shadows in your workspace. The golden, sharp light of the afternoon has surrendered to the soft, diffuse indigo of twilight, and the playhouse feels as though it is collectively holding its breath. The final preparations are happening all around you, yet you remain in your cocoon, putting the finishing touches on the day's projects. The room smells of cedar wool and the faint, lingering heat of the coal grate you relit when the chill started to return. You feel as though you are in a state of suspended animation, a bubble of time where everything is aligned and everything is prepared. You have successfully navigated the entire day, from the first light of dawn to the first star of the evening, without once losing the thread of your own internal calm. There is a strange, profound magic in this, in being the one person in the entire building who is not rushing. While everyone else is racing against the clock, fueled by adrenaline and the fear of a mistake, you have moved with the deliberate pace of a mountain, anchored and unshakable. You wonder if anyone notices, or if they just assume it is the nature of your quiet work that makes you seem so unmoved. It doesn't matter. What matters is the knowledge that you have not sacrificed your peace for the performance. You have maintained your own integrity throughout, and that is a victory that is yours alone, a silent personal monument to the life you have chosen to lead. You look at the final garment, a heavy velvet cloak intended for the lead, and you feel the weight of it in your hand. Not a heavy burden, but a piece of history that you have helped to restore. You think about the performance that will begin in an hour. The globe will be packed with people, the air will be thick with excitement, and the smell of ale and unwashed bodies and the sound of the audience will be a roar that shakes the very rafters. But here, in this room, it will remain quiet. You will be here, keeping watch, ready for any emergency, but otherwise left to the solitude of your craft. You feel a thrill of anticipation for that quiet, a genuine excitement for the hours of solitude that lie ahead. The theater, in its performance, is an act of creation, but your stillness is also an act of creation. You are creating a space for reflection, a place where the history of the playhouse and the dignity of your own craft can meet in silence. You rise and stretch, feeling the strength in your back and the suppleness in your limbs. You are not tired in the way that implies depletion. You are tired in the way that implies a full, well-spent day. You feel the satisfaction of a master who has served his role well. You walk to the door and crack it open, just enough to catch the sounds of the theater's anticipation. It is a powerful, wild sound, and you appreciate it as a force of nature, a surge of collective human energy that is as necessary as the quiet you have curated. You feel no desire to join it, and no desire to be anywhere else. You are exactly in the right place, standing in the doorway between the noise and the silence, the light and the dark, the work and the rest. As you sit back down, the twilight deepens into night, and the first candles in the theater are lit, casting long wavering shadows across the boards outside. You pick up a new project, something that isn't needed until the end of the week, allowing yourself the luxury of time. You don't need to finish it today. The work is not an end in itself, but a medium for your presence. You thread the needle, feeling the familiar grounding weight of it in your grip, and you begin to stitch. It is a slow, steady, and entirely peaceful motion. You are already beginning to look forward to the long, quiet hours of the night, when the theater will empty, the lights will dim, and you will be left with the fire, the velvet, and the golden thread. You are home and you are ready for the night to begin. The performance has begun, and the world beyond your door has transformed into a living, breathing spectacle of sound and light. The theater is alive with the roar of the crowd, the resonance of voices, and the heavy rhythmic thud of feet upon the stage. You are in the heart of the storm, yet you remain entirely undisturbed in your sanctuary. The wardrobe room is now a haven of silence. The contrast between the intensity of the play and the stillness of your workspace, creating a sensation of profound, almost surreal peace. You sit at your bench, the single candle casting a warm, steady glow over the fabric in your lap, while the distant, muffled echoes of the play provide a surreal, rhythmic soundtrack to your labor. It is a moment of pure, uninterrupted presence, where the theater exists only as a vibration against the wood, and your own internal world is the only reality that matters. You find yourself working with an almost supernatural fluidity. The needle seems to move of its own accord, guiding the thread through the heavy velvet with a precision that comes from years of repetition, but also from the profound calm of your current state. You are not thinking about the play, the actors, or the audience. You are thinking only about the texture of the fabric, the tension of the thread, and the exact perfect placement of the next stitch. It is a meditative immersion, a total surrender to the mechanics of the craft. You realize that this at last is the perfection of the stage you have been cultivating, where the work is not an effort, but a natural expression of your own centered being. You have reached a level of focus that is entirely self-sustaining, a circle of energy that feeds upon itself and remains perfectly contained. The hours of the performance are long, but they feel like moments. You navigate through the repairs, treating each one with the same focused, quiet respect. You are mending the fabric of a story, reinforcing the seams of a costume that will soon return to the light of the stage. You feel a deep, quiet pride in this role, in being the silent, invisible force that keeps the magic of the theater from fraying at the edges. You are the custodian of the spectacle, the one who ensures that the king's robes are sturdy, that the queen's lace is secure, and that the illusion is never broken by the mundane reality of wear and tear. This is your way of participating in the creation of wonder, by providing the physical, reliable foundation upon which it stands. You look around the room, which is now bathed in the soft flickering shadows of your candle. The costumes, hanging in their orderly dark rows, look like ancient silent witnesses to your industry. They seem to understand the work you are doing, the dedication you bring to the smallest detail, and the peace you maintain in the midst of the performance. You feel a strange, comforting kinship with these inanimate objects. They are the vessels of human imagination, the carriers of the characters who live and die upon the stage, and you are the one who ensures they are ready for their turn in the spotlight. You are the link between the history of the clothes and the future of the play, a steady, constant bridge between the reality of the work and the fiction of the performance. As the performance nears its climax, the vibrations from the stage become more pronounced, a thrumming that you can feel in the soles of your feet. It is a reminder of the power of the medium, the way it grips the hearts of the audience and transports them to another world. You are glad for it. You are glad that the work you have done contributes to that movement, that your steady hands have played a part in the unfolding of the drama. You are not separate from the play. Even in your silence, you are an essential underlying layer of it, the quiet, reinforced seam that allows the story to hold together. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sound of the theater wash over you like a distant sea, and you feel entirely, perfectly at peace. The work is nearly done. The night is waiting, and you are ready to slip into the deepest, most restorative rest once more, knowing that you have played your part with grace, integrity, and absolute stillness. The final applause of the evening is a sudden, thunderous release of energy, a crescendo that shakes the very frame of the playhouse and seems to echo long after the audience has begun to spill out into the streets of London. You remain in your room, the silence now settling back into the corners like a returning tide. The roar of the theater fades into the sounds of dismantling, the heavy footsteps of the stagehands, the muffled calls of the actors, and the inevitable, slow progression toward emptiness. You have finished your work, your tools are gathered, and you are simply waiting for the building to go dark. This too is a part of the cycle, the quiet, inevitable conclusion to the spectacle. You feel a sense of profound, deep-seated satisfaction, the kind that comes from knowing you have done your work well and that the day's journey has been complete. You stand and walk to the door, cracking it open to survey the stage. It is a desolate, cavernous space, dimly lit by a few remaining candles, with the ghost of the performance still hanging in the air. You see the discarded props, the smudged footprints, and the shadows where the actors stood. It is a landscape of temporary things, a place built for the transient nature of the play. You feel no sadness at this. You understand that the transience is exactly what makes the performance so precious. It is a moment of light in the darkness, a beautiful, fragile thing that serves its purpose and then passes. Your work has been to sustain that moment, to ensure it happened with beauty and integrity. And now you are ready to let it pass into memory. You head toward the theater exit, walking through the corridors that have been so full of energy only moments ago. They are empty now, save for the echoes of your own footsteps. You pass the empty dressing rooms, the doors left ajar, the vanity mirrors now reflecting nothing but the dark. You are the only one left, the silent observer of the theater's transition into rest. It is a solitary, contemplative walk, and you cherish every second of it. You feel as though you are walking through the history of the day, passing through the layers of the performance you helped to create. You are comfortable in the solitude, a master of your own presence, and you feel the weight of the day's work dissolving with every step you take toward the outside world. Stepping out into the night, the cool London air hits your face, a refreshing contrast to the thick, dusty atmosphere of the theater. The city is beginning to quiet down, the rowdiness of the evening slowly being swallowed by the vast black expanse of the night. You look up at the sky. It is clear, the stars bright and distant, a cold, elegant counterpoint to the warmth of the work you have just completed. You begin to walk home, not with the hurried, goal-oriented pace of a man who needs to get somewhere, but with the steady, measured tread of a man who knows he is already exactly where he needs to be. The journey is an extension of the piece you have cultivated, a final rhythmic chapter in the day's story. As you arrive at your home, you feel the familiar pull of the familiar, the desire to return to the silence, to the candle, and to the deep velvet dark of your bed. The night is a blank, beautiful page, and you have filled it with your intention, your service, and your own quiet truth. You have navigated the noise, the labor, and the spectacle, and you have remained whole. You have lived the day with the same depth as the night, and you are ready to rest, to let go, and to sink into the deep, replenishing ocean of sleep. The world will turn, the theater will wake, and tomorrow will bring its own stories. But for now, there is only this, the absolute, profound, and beautiful stillness. You are at rest and you are at peace, and you are perfectly entirely you. The walk back to your small residence under the canopy of a star-dusted London sky is a process of unspooling, a gradual letting go of the residual tension that even the most grounded soul carries after a full day in the theater. The cobblestones beneath your boots seem to echo with the rhythm of your own heart, a steady, unhurried cadence that has become your internal compass. You pass by the skeletal remains of the city's commerce, the shuttered stores and the silent, dark doorways that look like stage sets, waiting for the morning's rehearsals to begin. It occurs to you that the entire city is a theater of its own, a sprawling complex drama played out by thousands of souls, each one carrying their own costumes, their own secrets, and their own desperate need for rest. You feel a sudden, sharp, and overwhelming sense of kinship with every inhabitant of these dark streets. You are all traveling the same path, moving from the light of expectation to the darkness of recovery, bound by the universal necessity of the night. Reaching your door, you experience the profound physical relief of returning to a space that knows only your own energy. The act of turning the iron key in the lock is the final definitive punctuation mark on the sentence of the day. As you step inside, the familiar grounding scent of cedar and dried lavender greets you like a soft, wordless embrace. You do not light the main lamp, opting instead for the gentle amber glow of a single candle. The shadows stretch and dance against the walls, creating a familiar, cozy geometry that feels like the ultimate antidote to the vast cold space of the playhouse. You are home. The theater, with all its demands for perfection and its hunger for drama, is thousands of miles away, despite being just a short walk across the river. Here, there is no performance, no audience, and no requirement to be anything other than exactly who you are in this very moment. You move to the window and stand for a while, gazing out at the sleeping rooftops. A light fog has begun to roll in from the Thames, softening the harsh outlines of the chimneys and the spires, blurring the city into a dreamlike landscape of charcoal and silver. You feel as though you are observing the world from a place of great safety, a fortress of solitude you have constructed through your own discipline. You remember the golden thread you used earlier that day, the way it shimmered in the candlelight, and you think of your life as a collection of such threads, some rough and coarse, some fine and delicate, but all of them essential to the structural integrity of your own soul. You have spent your life stitching these threads together, not for the benefit of a play or a patron, but for the internal satisfaction of knowing that the garment you have created is both functional and beautiful. It is an act of pure, unadulterated self-love, a necessary foundation for any life of substance. Slowly, you begin to prepare for your rest. You move with a practiced, almost ritualistic efficiency, shedding the heavy woolen outer layers that protected you from the London damp, and changing into the soft worn linen of your sleep. Every motion is stripped of unnecessary energy. You are minimizing, refining, and focusing. You find that the less you do, the more aware you are of the doing. And this hyper awareness is a gift. It allows you to appreciate the cooling touch of the air on your skin, the weight of your own body as you finally sink onto the edge of the bed, and the profound silent intelligence of your muscles as they finally begin to release their hold. The transition is not a loss of self, but a reclamation of self, a return to the pristine, untouched origin point of your own existence before the day began. As you lie back, pulling the heavy woven blankets up to your chin, you listen to the silence. It is not empty. It is a deep, resonant, and living silence, a presence that feels like the weight of the night pressing gently against the windows. You have learned to welcome this silence, to invite it in and let it inhabit the corners of your mind, clearing away the clutter of concerns and the echoes of other people's voices. You are floating in a dark, warm ocean of your own making, and the current is carrying you toward the deepest, most necessary part of your rest. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you see the golden thread one last time. It is no longer tethered to a needle or a scrap of velvet. It is simply a line of light, a gentle pulse of existence that spans the dark. You realize then that the peace you sought was never something to be manufactured or earned. It was the thread itself, the unwavering continuity of your own presence amidst the changing costumes and the passing scenes of life. The needle of your mind finally comes to rest. The thread is knotted off with grace, and the fabric of your day is complete. You are no longer the tailor, the actor, or the observer. You are the fabric, the light, and the silence, woven into one eternal peaceful whole. The candle gutters out. The darkness becomes total, and you drift into the infinite, untroubled beauty of a deep, endless slumber, safe in the heart of a night that will never end.
Sleepy History with Theodore is created for relaxation, entertainment, and sleep purposes. The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life, and real periods in history. But they may be simplified, adapted, or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience. This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation. Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study. By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax, and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.